Hello, welcome in guys. It is your favorite host with the most. I am Parvision, and today I am joined by none other than Sai. Sai, do you want to introduce yourself for people who don't know who you are?
Yep, I just do spoiler content. I'm the best spoiler content creator there is.
That's so sweet.
And if they're, if you guys have trouble finding what the real spoilers are, come none other than onto my channel.
Not for this week, though. Not for this week.
Oh, not for this week. Wait, why not for this week?
So, I don't know if you know this, but the spoiler community was in shambles this week.
Oh, no.
So, you know how, so there's one certain leaker who has, a Sanji agenda, right? So, this leaker also has a Lucci agenda.
An anti-Sanji agenda? Or
anti-Sanji agenda, yeah. An anti-Sanji agenda. This week...
The guy who, Sanji broke his legs?
Yeah. Same guy. This week, he came around and he said, yo, Lucci, he's running for the hills. He's not winning this fight. He's getting knocked out. And
what?
No, yeah, dude. He was twisting it. You could tell he was coping. You could tell he was one of those Luffy fans who's like, oh my god, Luffy could have one-shot him. I don't know what Luffy's doing. I can't believe this is going on here. He's just messing around. You know how Luffy is. But it's he had a heavy anti-Lucci agenda, and it shined in this week's spoilers for sure.
Huh? And you fell victim to it? Is that what
everyone did? Me, TCB, Reddit. Pretty much Oro Jackson, Worst Gen, everyone fell for it. There wasn't a single victim that was spared from this one.
Wait, how did he manage to be so prolific this time around compared to other times? Times when you can sniff out the difference, right?
Well, this time around, as spoilers are releasing earlier and earlier, he definitely he's fastest. He's the fastest leaker known to mankind right now.
Known to mankind.
Yeah, it's like an epithet. It's the merchant of death. He's the merchant of spoilers.
I didn't think we'd bring this into this.
He's over here just dropping the leaks as early as possible. So people who want spoilers go for them early. So even if he's a little bit untrustworthy, people still want to go to him for information. So it's just it's the price of speed is what I call it. And while he did give some fake spoilers, he did show his anti-Lucci agenda. For the most part, he gave us a general gist of where the chapter is going, right? He told us about Gear 5th Luffy, told us about Awakened Lucci. Obviously, he said Lucci lost this fight, but it didn't happen. But all the events otherwise did pretty much happen. So it's like 50-50, give and take. If you can start sniffing out the agendas, then you'll be able to dissect the fake spoilers easier. But yeah, that's my take on that. But yeah, the spoiler community was in shambles, Sai, so you know how it is. Me, Par, I don't read spoilers, so thank you for telling me all about that. So on to this chapter, though. We're gonna hop right into the thick of it. We have a character that hits really close to home to me and Par. You know how we are with underwater, blackwater businesses and marketing. We have our favorite guy, Feld, up on the cover page, and I'm not gonna lie. When I saw this, I sent so many random heart and diamond emojis to Par. I was like, yo, you won't believe who this is. And Par knew exactly what happened. I kind of spoiled him a little bit because Feld is actually one of his favorite characters. Par, you want to tell him all about your history with Feld?
Yeah, I want to let you know you've been pronouncing it wrong this entire time. It's Feld. I'll have you know.
Feld.
Which I'm confused by, because if it's Feld, then why wasn't it pronounced Feld? But it was actually in I think it's chapter 860 when he showed up in Whole Cake Island,
but
and it was
isn't his name spelled Feld?
Yeah, but on here it's with an L on the cover.
But here, catch this. See, I don't know how into drug trafficking you are, Par. You seem like a novice, so let the merchant of death tell you what's up.
Yeah.
So the thing with this is that when you are a underground, emperor, a man that's ruling the underworld.
Yeah.
And, you make all your money through Blackwater schemes. When you come up above ground and do charitable work, you're not using your underground name. This guy's not coming out saying, yes, I'm the Loan Shark King and I'm sponsoring the world government. No. Yeah, but you're changing the name.
Why would you change it one letter then?
It's the One Piece world. What do you mean? Dude, Usopp puts on a mask and nobody knows who he is. Feld changing it to Lufeld, he's just paying his taxes. That's all it is.
Fair enough. And this could be what he went by in the past, because this is Feld of the past. That
is true. He could have changed.
We don't know how long ago, but it's when Mads was operating, and apparently it funded Mads. Like he funded Mads, which is like it's super
Mads.
funny that on the ship he says presented by Dufeld. Like,
yeah, Lufeld Incorporated. But
yeah, this ship is the goofiest thing I've ever seen.
Hey,
though.
it's goofy, but I've actually heard a pretty crack theory on Twitter.
Okay.
So this ship actually looks pretty similar to the ship that Frankie found and reconstructed his body with.
No way.
Yeah, no. I see.
What?
Sorry, guys. I'm lazy. My editing is bad. These videos are like 2 hours long. I'm not going to sit here for like 5 hours editing this and bring up every single picture we talk about. But if you go back to the anime or the manga, to the chapter where Frankie did like work on his body, the ship not only has a similar structure, it even has like all those, like, you see the really weird like holes underneath and above Mads? It even has those. So people are like, yo, like, is this like the ship that Frankie used? Like, maybe he was always connected to Vegapunk in a way. It was like fate itself.
Yeah. No, I'm.
It looks like a slightly retcon version of this ship. Enough to where, like, we can start drawing some connections. And another connection, too, is that since Dufeld is here, we can kind of draw the connection between him and Caesar, and how Caesar potentially got into contact with Big Mom and ended up with her. So yeah, we could see how like Caesar had those like underworld ties. So it's pretty cool. Like one really goofy cover page actually holds a decent amount of significance.
Yeah, and the other part of it too is like it almost felt like, you know, I have a video talking about the underworld, the Godfather Shanks, like that kind of stuff, highlighting those things where it's like, I didn't think Dufeld would come into like at least relevance to some regard, you know, because this is like, I expected
to see him in like Marie Joie or maybe like Elbath, but not here on a cover page.
It didn't even matter to see him, if we're being honest, right? Like it, like
yeah,
like,
no, I'm kidding. Yeah, that was a joke.
Oh. Yeah, I was just kind of like weird that like Oda broke up the Germa story to include this, because then it's like, is he gonna be with the Cross Guild then? Like, I don't know. I feel
like he would be, right? Like Buggy was what, like a mercenary kind of guy. I feel like Buggy has big connections to the underworld. So imagine like Dufeld like starts sponsoring a lot of Buggy stuff or Cross Guild stuff. I could see it happening.
Yeah, I mean the money thing has always been. I still like the idea we talked about not a long time ago, but a few episodes ago. Whereas the whole WAPO thing, because WAPO should be more relevant than Dufeld, right? Like, right? WAPO's power is cool. He's making WAPO metal, which is what Frankie uses. He might be tied to the Iron Drunken Ore or whatever it's called. Like, there's so many things about it. Whereas like Lufeld, who is this man?
Okay, all right. You're
is
capping
he just
right
crocodile?
now. You are capping. I can't believe it. I will accept this no longer,
Dad.
Par. Let me tell you right now, you can't disrespect Dufeld like this. My man is putting in money moves.
Yeah, where are the money moves? Wait,
Dude,
didn't he
presented by
almost die to Stussy? Didn't he die almost? Well, we don't know if he's alive still.
No, he's alive. He's alive. Yeah, he left Whole Cake Island, yeah.
Oh, he left it? Okay, we know that for sure. Because
Yeah.
I just remember Stussy shiganing him in the back, and he's just like, no, I got taken down by a maskless CP0 agent. I can't show my face in front of Sai and Par ever again.
No. Hey, dude, you know what? He got stabbed in the back by Stussy. Any of us would. Let's be real here. If we had to go down, I'm glad it's by Stussy.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh yeah. Lufeld, he did not catch the L from Whole Cake Island. On to the chapter. That was a pretty good one. On to the chapter. We have Egghead Island in chaos, and we have the citizens running away saying, whoa, they got Dr. Atlas. And I think it's really funny because if you look at this first panel, you know how like we've been seeing like shadows of those small people walking around? On the bottom left of the first panel, you actually see one of the small people, but they're still shaded out. Like, you can't see their face whatsoever. Like, it's so fascinating. It's so, if you look at it's like a locked Lego character. Like, you have, like, this blackened face with just eyes, bro. Like
that
nothing
is
else.
So weird. Yeah,
it is hilarious.
That looks nothing like a One Piece. Like, if you clip that, like, it's like, what am I looking at right now?
It's straight up an Ewok out of Star Wars, my man. Like, it's a mystery. It's like when you'd see in your closet in the middle of the night. Like, it's just a pair of eyes in the darkness.
Oh my goodness. Sai, what if people listen to this at night? They're gonna be so scared.
Did you hear that? It's behind you. I'm sorry. No, I was listening to a podcast once, and then like they had audio problems, and they actually like one of the members said, "Oh, he's behind you," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What's going on here?" I thought like something broke in the fourth dimension, and then it turns out they're just memeing on Halloween.
You got the shivers.
Yeah, I hate podcasts. So after the first panel, we have Atlas being knocked down, and we have Lucci and Luffy finally meeting again, and Kaku puts a lot of respect on the Yamakanji name. He says, "Well, that's that, Lucci. We can't lay a hand on him. The Straw Hats are officially an emperor now. We can't engage him without orders." And then Stussy says, "That's right. Emperors have considerable backing behind them. Even a small tiff can flare up into an all-out war. We have to contact the Navy first before we can actually attack him." And I'm saying this puts a lot of respect on the Yamakanji name, because back in Amazon Lily, I think Yamakanji could have handled the Blackbeard and Boa situation if he had Akainu's blessing. All I gotta say, you don't have to comment. I already know what you're saying right now. You are standing Yamakanji. I can see it in your eyes. But yeah, I thought this is really cool that we now have this status. Like, I don't know how much damage the Straw Hat Grand Fleet would do necessarily, but hey, we'd start a war, and I'll take it.
Yeah, I think like this line was kind of interesting to me because, you know, when Buggy, prior to Buggy's announcement / you know, like there's a whole who's the fourth or who's the next Yonko, because people were thinking that, you know, we'd have the fifth Yonko, but like, you know, I think a lot of us are always just like, well, they're probably going to take the time to reset it and go back to the Yonko if we're keeping the Yonko titling.
We have to call it the Goko or something.
Yeah, something like that. And you know, during that time when we were debating, it was like it was kind of up in the air what criteria was necessary to be a Yonko, and it's still not like stated verbatim like, oh, you need this and this, and then you pass the Yonko test.
The Yonko test.
Yeah, but here it's like, what would be the war, an all-out war, if Luffy didn't have the Grand Fleet, right? Like, would there be an all-out war? It would just be this 8 people versus it wouldn't be an all-out war versus like what they're talking about with the Emperor is like, if you pick a fight with an Emperor, you are going to ensue an all-out war. So that kind of also means that like they have something beyond just 8 people, you know, like.
Yeah. I mean, even if it was just 8 people, like I feel like if Luffy were to fight somebody strong and it was like a drawn out battle, it would be one of those things with like Akainu and Aokiji, like, oh, they fought for 10 days and 10 nights until a winter was concluded. Like, I'd kind of consider that a war. Like, even with just like 9 or 10 people, like the Straw Hats still aren't easy to take down. But also, like, aside from the Grand Fleet, like Luffy has built so many connections throughout the world. Whether it's like Fishman Island, Dressrosa, Alabasta, like there's so many random countries. Like the Usopp pirates would probably like run out here to try to save Usopp, right?
Those
like in a way, it would be a really like weird scenario to be a part of. You'd have like Drum Kingdom coming to assist the Straw Hats out of nowhere, right? Like Dr. Correa throwing like potions and axes.
I'm just like, I'm thinking about it like without the Grand Fleet, right? Like would they have called him an emperor? You know, because all the things that you listed, it's like that's without the Grand Fleet, right?
That's hard. That's a hard one, because I know people think that Shanks' crew doesn't have a lot of people, but that's actually false.
Yeah, we got the SBS.
Yeah, we got the SBS, and Shanks has a Grand Fleet as well.
Yeah.
So it's
we
like,
don't know how they operate though, but it seems to make sense that it's like even if Shanks isn't, it's probably similar to Luffy's in a lot of ways, where it's like he's not like out there managing, like decide. It's like also Whitebeard's, like Whitebeard wasn't there like hey, you guys go do this, and you know, it was just like, here's the base rules, don't break these rules, and go put out the like
don't own slaves, just go out, don't hurt villagers. See you later.
But it might even be less than like Shanks and Luffy's is probably even less than Whitebeard's, where Whitebeard's was like all of the captains were like, Dad, you know, like,
oh my god, oh, That would be pretty cool. You know what? I want to be a Yonko now.
So people can call you dad?
Yes.
I didn't know.
I don't know.
What a random quirk that you just... But, like, I like the sound of that now.
You know what? Oyaji isn't that bad after all.
Is this... Okay, hold on, guys.
Pops isn't that bad.
Sai does not do anything without intentions. I have a question to ask him off stream.
There was a follow-up to that, but you can read between the lines. But here's the thing with this, though, is that since Buggy is an emperor and the Navy can't touch him without permission, Buggy really doesn't have to fight anymore. Like, if you think about it, like, it would be like Buggy just got the ultimate green card. Like, he is so safe, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like, he has a free card out of jail. Like, the man is living on, like, you know, Hollywood Boulevard.
The thing is,
no one's gonna attack this guy.
That's always been Buggy's, though. Like, when he got, I've always said this, him getting Warlord was more ridiculous than the Yonko thing, in my opinion, because, like, that was, once he got Warlord, it was slated that he would become Yonko, almost, because they did not attack him. He got their resources, he got the reputation, and then, like, he gets the safe haven to do all his businesses. It grows in a vacuum that continuously grows as Luffy dismantles more things. And it's like, once he got Warlord, it was wraps. And then, you know, nowadays Yonko,
it's game over.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, when he got Yonko, it wasn't automatic, but then now that he has Mihawk and Crocodile, it's kind of like, yeah, like, even if you try to fight them, it's like, yeah, don't do that.
I'm gonna hit you with something really hard, and I just want to know, like, a simple answer to this.
All right.
How would you feel if by the end of One Piece, Luffy found the One Piece, but Buggy got the title of Pirate King?
How would I feel?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The thing is, Luffy wants to be the Pirate King.
So Luffy gets the One Piece. He obtains all the treasure, but another character who tags alongside him is Buggy to Laugh Tale. Mm-hmm. Like, Luffy even achieves his dream, whatever it is. Yeah. But Buggy, people just, for some reason, think he's the Pirate King because he was also there. How would you feel? Would you feel like that's a cheat? Like, I don't know how I'd feel. Like, because at this point, I feel like Buggy, in a way, is kind of slated to go to Laugh Tale.
Yeah.
And, like, because he didn't go there with Shanks back when they were kids, and then now he's a Yonko. Like, he is progressively moving up in the world. So, Buggy being there at Laugh Tale with Luffy isn't ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just ridiculous. Like, what does Buggy get out of that? Will he just change his ways? I don't think so. He's going to be the same guy. But will he get clout from that? Will he be, like, the right hand of the Pirate King? Like, will he be the Pirate King? Like, I don't know. Like, how far will Oda take the Buggy shenanigans? Because you have to remember, Buggy is Oda's favorite character. Like, Buggy is here for a reason, and Oda is very biased towards Buggy.
Oh yeah, a lot of people forget that. But, like, and the thing about Buggy is, I don't, in a lot of ways, okay, in a lot of ways he's similar to Luffy. And I think one of the weird ones is, it's not necessarily reputation, because Buggy loves the reputation, but also like he, like, look at the Cross-Guild situation. He was just like, hold on, guys, let's not do that. You know what I mean? Like, when he was actually there, he realized the gravity of being there. And he's like, okay, any of these guys can kill me, right? And in a way, like, that is kind of... that is a kind of a good, like, Pirate King. It's a joke. If you're asking if I would be upset, I think what would make me upset more if it was just like, Buggy's a Pirate King, end of series. You know, it would be like whatever Luffy does afterwards. That's what matters, right? Because I have the, like, what is Luffy? Have you watched Gurren Lagann?
Yes.
Okay, like, you know, in the first season, when, like, the first half of it, where, like, they conquer it, and then everyone becomes the leadership roles, and then the main guy, forget his name, he just kind of, like, does his own thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like Sasuke a little bit, you know? And like, Luffy's kind of like that too. Like, why would he sit down in a single place, right? So it's like being Pirate King or the empty throne. None of that shit makes sense for Luffy. It makes sense for Buggy, maybe. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like even think about it like this, like empty throne. What island is Buggy's? Island of Empty Bluffs, right? Like the throne, that makes more sense for Buggy in the first place. So I don't know. I think it's not like, that's not the most ridiculous thing. Like I like that better than Croco Mom, right? Like, so.
Oh my god. See, I think Crocodile's a win, but I don't think he's Croco Mom, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's
like,
why I said I like this idea more.
Like, you
than
had
Croco
me in
Mom.
the first half with, like, you know, Ivankov and Crocodile, and then you lost me when you said that Crocodile's Luffy's mom.
Exactly.
There's a little bit of a plot hole there.
Yeah, like, I mean...
kind of a big one. Oh, my God. So, moving on with the chapter, we see Atlas has been destroyed, and she looks scuffed, bro. Like, you know, smoke coming out of her. Like, she has blood running down her, too. White of the eyes. But she's a robot, so technically it's like the white of a computer screen, the red rings of death. And then we see Lucci saying, yes, I'm aware of the consequences, but that said... And then you can kind of infer what he's going to say after that. Like, I'm aware of the consequences, but come on. Like, we got to take him down. Like, I need my revenge here. And he seems, like, openly hostile against Luffy right off the bat. And I don't blame him. Like, I'm actually kind of rooting for Lucci. I'm not going to lie.
The way I saw it was, like, Lucci understood what kind of guy Luffy was. And, like, understood that, like, in that moment, there's no fighting. Like, Luffy was the instigator, and Lucci was just like, yeah, see, you say no fighting, but that's not what this guy is saying. And, like, Luffy's line in response was so, like, this in the live reaction, this is one of my favorite pages, where the moment when they were saying, like, oh, we can't fight, or like, don't engage Luffy, and then, like, when they showed Atlas, I was like, oh no,
it's over,
I was
bro.
Like, Luffy, it's a robot, please. And then I was like, but he doesn't care because she gave him food.
He would always fight. Like, Luffy would never, like, stop and rationalize someone's, like, death or defeat, right?
No, and I think the main thing was the food. If, I'm trying to picture a scenario where it's like a robot and it didn't give him food, would he care? In my head, when I saw this panel, I was just like, the main thing, I was like, oh god, the food, not the food he fed him, and then he fed him, and then that's on site. Whereas, like, you know, the Atlas thing, like, yeah, I agree with you, where it's like, you know, he probably would have done anything regardless, but it was the instantaneous part that was the food for me. I was like, they Oda included that so that Luffy could say this here.
I mean, not just that, but, like, Vegapunk asked Luffy for a favor. So I feel like Luffy would just always, like, he would always fight for Atlas, no matter what.
But does he register that all the, like, I feel like this is a foreign concept to Luffy. Like, it doesn't matter even if he sat there and someone explained to him, like, these are my clones and we are all the same person and we're connected to the same. Hey. He'd be like, he's Vegapunk, he's Helmet Guy, he's Big Girl. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but at the same time, like, Jinbei and Chopper were there. They could have talked some sense. And plus, he knows Rob Lucci, right? Rob Lucci was the guy who iconically said, I would chase that woman down to the ends of the earth to kill her. And then he also was like, by the way, Straw Hat, I'm going to kill all of your Nakama one by one while you're alive here. Like, he knows that Rob Lucci, if you leave him alone to his own devices, nothing good will happen.
This is true.
And I love this for Rob Lucci, man. Like, he's been waiting for this, right? Like, imagine, like, Luffy versus Kaido, right? Like, Kaido whooped Luffy in the very beginning of Wano, but Luffy got back up, like, within a week and beat Kaido down. Rob Lucci got beaten, lost his job, he had to hide from the Marines, he was living on the run for, like, years. Actual years. 2 years later, he's finally now getting his rematch. Like, this is great. It's Manny Pacquiao versus Mayweather. I'm rooting for it. Like, bring on the revenge here.
Well, what an interesting comparison. But, like, yeah, I mean, I have a fun question. I mean, I asked a bunch of questions while we were on our stream. No, once we get to the reveals, I want to ask something.
Oh, the reveals, I see.
Yeah,
all right, we'll speed along then. We go to Navy HQ, which I always kind of laugh a little bit when I see the design of Navy HQ.
McDonald's.
But, yeah, the freaking McDonald's logo. And then we have Akainu finally learning that pirates are on Egghead Island.
Can you do something for me?
What's up?
Can you read Akainu's lines in that first panel there? That cracked me up. I just want to hear you say it. Like, read those lines.
The Straw Hat Pirates are on Egghead Island. What the hell? I love that. See, here's the thing. I don't know why Akainu was like the last one to learn. Because like they already had a strategy planned out and Kizaru already left, and Akainu is just now finding out, bro. Like he should be like the first person that knows this.
Yeah, I mean, the Kizaru point on its own is an interesting thing.
Oh, but, yeah.
When he said, what the hell, I just died. You know how, like, Einstein has the quasar thing at the end of all of his lines? Like, what the hell should be Akainu's, like, things keep getting messier. What the hell? Is Vegapunk onto CP0? What the hell?
Even when he learned about, Sabo becoming, like, Flame Lord and Luffy and Buggy being emperors, he's like, what the hell? Like, what is going on out there? Like, bro, like, if I was a fleet admiral like him, I'd be so upset. He's essentially like Naruto being Hokage. Like, he just doesn't leave the office.
Yeah,
you have like this very overpowered character that is actually sitting down in a single room, watching all of his enemies get stronger and stronger, and he's just chilling, bro.
Is that supposed to be the story of Eam?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like Eam is strong, but, like, he's not doing anything about anything, really. Like, what? Yeah. He had a piece of paper, and he said, we're gonna extinguish this person. I'm like, wow, cool, dude. Like, it took you, like, so many years to figure that out.
It's kind of crazy.
Jeez.
It's crazy because it's, like, he's the strongest person, and yet you're, like, people are getting stronger and stronger on the outside. But it's, like, at this point, or not at this point, but in a certain point in this chapter, we start questioning the power behind the desk, right? Like, a little bit.
Dude, his handwriting in light novels can only go so far. like by the end of this, like, all the characters are gonna be super buff and, like, you know, like, oh, we fought so many people to get here, and then Akainu's gonna come out with a mean forearm, like, I've signed so many documents with this, right? Like, dude, what? Like what is what is Akainu learning from this? Like, at least Aokiji's on the front lines.
Yeah.
Like, Aokiji's with the Blackbeard Pirates, he's invading Whole Cake Island. Akainu has done squat.
Same thing with Kizaru. He doesn't even need to wait for orders, apparently, right? He just
this is the most active we've seen Kizaru. So yeah, so one thing I want to touch on before Kizaru, it looks like Akainu actually knew that CP0 was gonna kill Vegapunk. Yeah. So like this seems like a high brass mission. So like it looks like it was well known, which is kind of crazy, right? Like, I wonder if Kizaru knew about this beforehand.
Yeah, especially because the Marines from, like, when we saw in post Eni's lobby, like, Kobe and Helmeppo knew of Vegapunk and talked about him very highly, right? Like, he's, like, our pride and joy. Like, the Marines are super happy about him, super, like, protective. Like, you know, Vegapunk is that guy. Like, everything that we're capable of, it's because of this guy, the smartest guy in the world, right? And then...
He's the Ein to my Stein, bro.
And then... yeah, that. And then we have we have Akainu. It's just like openly, like, is Vegapunk onto CP0? And then who is this? That's not
Yamakaji. Don't disrespect him. He's fodder. The Marines we see in the office are actual fodder.
Wait, are they? Who is this long neck dude?
No, he looks like a Pagaya from Skypiea.
Yo, he does. He looks like Cavendish, and then this long neck, like, yoked Kaya. And
then the girl on the left kind of looks like Nami in a marine outfit.
Yeah.
No, like, it's fodder. It's just wacky Oda designs. It's like people, like, looking at the revolutionaries saying, "Hey, who's that winged fellow? Is that a Lunarian?"
Fair.
Like, it could be something, it could be nothing, but I doubt, like, a random marine with a beard is, like, an important guy saying, "Oh, I'm afraid they had to force their way in."
Yeah, I mean, like, actually, Oda kept the tattoo in the second panel of this big dude, but I think, like, it is interesting with the whole Vegapunk thing, because then, you know, the Kizaru stuff hits us, and we're just like, what does this mean?
Like, so Kizaru goes to Egghead, and this is crazy because it seems like he left without telling anybody, without really, like, you know, waiting for backup or anything. He just left. Like, when I think of Kizaru, I think of, like, I said it in your live stream, I think of Joe Biden. Like, very slow, like, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's like, mosh. And then they're like, "Hey, Kizaru, you're looking at the wrong Denden Mushi." And he's like, "Arara?" You know, he fucking turns it over and he's like, oh, Sokaro. Like, you know, he's very slow.
Yeah.
He's Joe Biden levels of slow. So the thing with that is, like, it seems like he's actually taking initiative for once. Like, he's a man on a mission. He's going to Egghead Island. And it seems like this might be something that he is very passionate about. And we have the connections with Sentomaru. We have the connections with Vegapunk. And now I'm just wondering, whose side will he be on? Do you think he'll rescue Vegapunk? Do you think he'll help Sentomaru? Or do you think, no, he's going to assist CP0 and take down the Straw Hats? And maybe even assassinate Vegapunk, since that's apparently what the world government wants. I think it would be very fascinating, personally, if he assisted the Straw Hats, because it would be such a contrast to Sabaody.
Yeah, I think the way Oda framed this is really interesting, because when you go into the chapter, right, you hit this part, and at the point where we see Luffy and Lucci confront each other, you don't really grasp the gravity of that confrontation and the conflict at hand. And so when you see Kizaru mentioned here, and he's already headed that way, because of, you know, the assumptions going into the chapter, and, you know, you could be pro Lucci, whatever, but, like, at the end of the day, going into this chapter, I think a majority, like, not even a majority, I would say, like, most, if not all of the community felt like CP0 was the underdog. Anytime I heard anything regarding, like, Lucci and CP0, it was always that they are the underdogs here. Like, they're facing a Yonko crew. And I think, like, the reason why I can say all the community in that is because they were faced against our main character crew and Vegapunk, right? Like, there's not much on their end going into this chapter, hitting this line. And so you kind of just you assume, like, oh, Kizaru is going there for, you know, for the natural helping out CP0 for the marine agenda. But then after this panel, by the time you get to the end of it, you start realizing that
they're not the underdogs after all.
Yeah, and that is I think, like, was really cool about this chapter, because after we talked about it and after we synthesized as much as we could during the live reaction, when I talked to you and like the chat, and we, like, realized this opening here where it's like Kizaru left before Akainu knew about the Straw Hats. So what does that mean, right? Like, does that mean Kizaru knew about the Straw Hats or not? I feel like it means that Kizaru left just hearing about CP0 and Vegapunk, right? Because like, that's the only thing. And then if you reel it back to that, then it's like, whose side would he take? Vegapunk's or CP0? And it sounds like he would take Vegapunk. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like he's on Vegapunk's side. Just like, I feel like the connection is going to be a lot deeper than what a lot of us suspect. Because we have to remember, like, Kizaru was the first admiral that they openly, like, replicated, right? Like, the laser beams, like, he was there with the pacifistas when they were first introduced. He was there with Sentomaru. Like, there's got to be some backstory there.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we get the from Sentomaru, the naming thing, which I don't know if you've... Thing. Yeah, so he calls uncle Kizaru, and then Gramps Vegapunk, but, like, a lot of people in the chat pointed out that it's like, it's not blood, but the naming, the way they say it is that of, like, the Yakuza or like a boss or like a mafia. It's
familiarity. It's like, I'm Asian. I got, like, so many people that I think of my family. Like, you know, here's the thing. As an Asian guy, I'm sure a lot of Asian fellows out there also, you know, feel this. You feel a brother when I say this, but you don't date Asian girls. And there's a reason why. Because as an Asian guy, in a small community, because I live in Oklahoma, I live in the South, not a lot of Asian women. So when you do meet an Asian woman and you hit it up with her, there's a pretty good chance you're related to her somehow. You know, like,
it's not true. Wrong if you're in Oklahoma.
Like, there was a couple times, let me tell you, I almost hooked up with my cousin. Let's just say it right here. So you got to be careful.
Not like this.
Twice, bro. Twice.
Real quick, how did you find out?
We already knew. It was whatever.
What do you mean you already knew?
Yeah,
all right.
Small details aside. So yeah, it happened twice. So I feel like it's just familiarity. Like, like I said, going back to the original point, a lot of people in the Asian community were so close and tight-knit and whatever, that even if I see them once or twice, my family would just be like, hey, just call him your uncle. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I guess that's Uncle Poe, I guess, you know? Like, I don't know who he is. Are we blood related? I don't think so, but he shows up and he's pretty cool. Uncle Poe, hello.
Right.
So I think that's what Sentomaru is with Kizaru. And even when you look at like the wiki or anything, like Sentomaru, it says they have a relationship, but it's never confirmed if it is blood or not. And then later in this chapter, something funny is that Sentomaru, or I guess Vegapunk, mentions that Sentomaru was actually broke at one point. Like, he was on the street, dying in poverty. And it would be so strange if he actually had an uncle that was an admiral, or, you know, rising up in the Navy, and Kizaru not at one point helped them out. You know, like, he's like, hey, what's up, broke boy? Like, you know, like, I hear you're on the streets again, like, bug? Like what is he gonna do?
Like, I don't think it needs to be, like, even in the original thing, like, the whole mob thing. I think more so, like, that familiarity that you talked about. I think that's the important part, where it's like, if Sentomaru, who is supposed to be Vegapunk's bodyguard, is calling someone an uncle, if he was calling, like, Akainu also an uncle, that would be interesting, right? Because then it's like, that's like what you're talking about, where it's like, it could just be a random Asian dude that, like, your family knows that is now Uncle Poe, Uncle Joe, Uncle Doe, like, all these uncles, right? Whereas, like, if it's just Kizaru that he says this to, and he calls Vegapunk Gramps, I think that does create some sort of bubble of familiarity, where it's like,
there's a bubble of it.
Yeah, and like, we don't know where that bubble lies. Is that with the Revs? Is that with Vegapunk? Is that within Sword or something?
And
like,
we could look into this further too, and just say that maybe Sentomaru didn't have a family, and since Vegapunk picked him up, that's why Vegapunk is Gramps. And since Kizaru was over here apparently so often helping out with pacifistas and giving them his light beams, then maybe that's why he's so familiar with Kizaru.
Like, maybe this would be a cool one. If he might call Kuma an uncle, and he might call Bonnie a sis. Like, he might call her like a sister.
Oh, yes. So wait, Sentomaru, like, later, you know, skipping ahead, I don't think Sentomaru says anything about Bonnie. Yeah,
he doesn't even recognize.
Dang, that would have been a good interaction. No, we should have saw that. We got skimped, bro.
Yeah, I don't know if, like, I mean,
it's
we'll
like
get there.
Death levels, bro.
We'll get there when we get there, but is there even a position of time where, like, it's just Luffy that he sees? He doesn't even see Jinbei and Chopper. Like, Jinbei and Chopper run the other direction.
Them, but yeah.
Wait,
do they run past?
I don't we don't get a good scope of what direction, but it's like the Seraphims show up, Chopper and Jinbei run one direction, and Luffy's fighting midair, and that's how Sentomaru and Luffy see each other. But you don't see Chopper or Jinbei in proximity at all during that time.
And then when we do see Chopper and Jinbei, we only see the three Seraphim and not Sentomaru.
Yeah, so I don't even know if they're proximal to each other. But it could be, like, now that Sentomaru's down or something, like, then maybe, like, Chopper decides to pick him up, right? Like, some shit like that.
This kind of reminds me of, like, Kimi no Namaiwa, where they just walk past each other and they don't even notice for a little bit.
I like how you just made up a like, I said that they're, like, brother and sister, and you're just like, oh, my name is...
like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, they walk past...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The observation hockey kicks in. They're like, oh, what's your name?
Bunny. Oh, Sento-chan.
Yeah, like, I think the possibility is still there, but I think that would be really interesting if like that's the case, because then the bubble is Egghead. The bubble would probably just be Egghead Island is the bubble of like familial stuff, which then begs the question of like, what did Vegapunk do for Kizaru? Like, you know what you said, like how he's like Joe Biden. Like, what if he was completely, he could not function having the light fruit? Because when you think about the light fruit, it's a powerful fruit, yes, but it's also a very difficult fruit to handle, because when you go into Logia form, you just you have to go in that direction, because light, he can't bend the light, he has to bounce off of mirrors. So
you're traveling light speed, bro.
It could be, and that too. And so it could be that Kizaru might have gotten like trained by Vegapunk. Like, he might have learned how to properly use his powers because of Vegapunk. And prior to that, he might have just been garbage with his fruit. It could be something like that.
Another thing too is that when we look at early pictures of Kizaru as a child, he's always studying. He had like a bunch of books. He was like writing some novels. So I'm like, maybe he's a seeker of knowledge, and him and Vegapunk vibed on that level.
Kizaru wasn't one of the people who went to Ohara either.
No.
It was
no, dude. Maybe Kizaru didn't like Ohara. He was like, yo, like, I was trying to go to the library.
No, I was thinking the opposite side. I was thinking that
I just bought my library pass for $25 a month. I just paid a renewal subscription. And you guys are Buster calling it? Like,
this is my chance to get out of my debt. This is my chance to get out of the library debt.
By the time,
way, bro. How did you take my wholesome ass thing and you turned it into he had library debt at the Ohara and he wanted them nuked so that he could get out of his $25 debt?
The Volume 8 came out. I can't get it anymore. So here's the thing: when Kizaru shows up on Egghead, do you think he's gonna be like Sleepy Joe, or do you think he's gonna be like super like hyperactive?
Do you think Kizaru shows up next chapter, or do you think it's a little bit?
Dude, I think it would be super hype if he light sped all the way to Egghead. Like, honestly, imagine if in this chapter it ends up with Kizaru. I think that would have been an amazing finisher. But, we didn't get that, obviously. But I would like to see Kizaru showing up very fast. It not only shows the priority, but it also shows off how powerful his devil fruit is and how serious he is. Like, I think it would be really dope. So I think he might even show up before G14 if I had to, like, take a stab.
That would make sense. I'm going to go back really quickly to see something. Okay, so in chapter 504, that's a Sabaody when they talk about what Luffy and everyone's doing on Sabaody, and then Sengoku's like, and it's pretty much the same thing that Akainu's in position of, like, right now, where he finds out who's there, all this stuff, and he's like, Kizaru, and then Kizaru actually answers and is like, I'm going there right now. And so he heads over, and we get a lore dump, which is why it probably felt like it was a little bit longer. But 504 is when that happened, and chapter 506 is when Kizaru actually shows up at the very end of the chapter. Yeah, so maybe there's one chapter in between that's like a lore thingy, because like the chapters in between those two was the debut. Oh yeah, this could kind of would fit where 504 and 505, the things that happened after was the monster captains debuted their powers, and then the respective captains left.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
And then we got a lore dump about Roger. We learned Roger's true history. Then Kizaru shows up. So if there was a parallel here, it would
Rob Lucci versus Luffy showing out.
Yeah, there's this few interesting I guess the warlords
are
there.
Parallel, bro.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going back to this because now we have Kuma, right? Kuma's on his way too. So, and we don't know how that's gonna turn out, but like, it almost seems like everybody's coming on the side of the Straw Hats, and Lucci is just that guy, which is fair. He was that guy in pre-time skip. Oh no, this is too wild.
Lucci is now that guy. I love it, dude. I mean, the Lucci slander, I was on board because, like, I did not see how Lucci would win. Like, I thought he had an awakening, but I didn't expect the Leopard Awakening to be so crazy, which we can jump ahead because we see the Leopard Awakening in the next page.
Yeah.
Like, he's awakened. He has the black clouds. He's in the Slender semi-Keycon form. And he's also, like, apparently he's surpassed most awakened Zoan powers that usually take his mind, and he's in full control of it. And not only that, just one more feat for the man here, but he's clashing with Gear 5 Luffy. Like, Luffy whipped it out ASAP. Do you think Luffy went Gear 4th beforehand, or do you think he recognized how strong Lucci was, and that is why he whipped it out? I'm gonna go with the latter. Like, Luffy's not dumb. He can sniff out people with his observation haki. He can tell when somebody's strong and when they're not. I feel like if Luffy could have beaten him in Gear 4th or less, he probably would have realized that. Luffy normally doesn't go for overkill.
Yeah, I think we're playing with two different things at the same time too, where it's like, one, this is Lucci, right? Like this
Yeah.
this is Lucci, right? And so like last time we saw Lucci was Lucci, and Lucci was doing Lucci things.
Lucci won, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, Lucci won the one-on-one. It wasn't until Usopp showed up that Luffy did win. Usopp had to give like a whole speech. He had to say, yo, like, I'm back. Like, he took off the mask and everything. Luffy was down on the ground. He couldn't move. Like, that was it. That was game over.
And that
Lucci
speech
pretty much won that.
That speech also included that he would skin Lucci alive next time he sees him.
Yo,
right?
I was on board with Usopp maybe fighting Lucci
until he awakened.
Yo, yeah, dude. Usopp, hey, you're getting skinned, my man. Like, say goodbye to that long nose. This guy's gonna cook kielbasa sausages. Usopp's nose is on the menu.
See, like, my most viewed video is my Usopp video, and I'm, like, on board with all the powers. Cool, like, that'll happen. And, like, I knew about that line, like, you know, Usopp's gonna do that. And even I wasn't disrespectful enough to say that, like, Usopp would skin Lucci alive. Like, that did just, no. Like, I get it, it's a meme, like...
Yeah.
But then, like... Then we see this, and I'm like, yeah, we need like a time skip plus like Usopp to become a Seraphim, and then like maybe Usopp has a chance after becoming a Seraphim.
Yeah, like, Seraphim. He has like 5 devil fruits in his Kabuto. He has like a Nell's Rumble fruit. Like he needs the upgrades. But here's the thing with Lucci though: people are upset that he got so powerful, but I mean. He's been I would assume he's been training, right? Like he was clashing Luffy. Like this was the best, in my opinion, the best pre-time skip fight. It was so evenly matched. Luffy had to overcome so many obstacles to beat him. And if he was training, if he did hold that grudge this entire time, it makes sense that he got this powerful. Like I wouldn't be super surprised. And look at it from Lucci's point of view, right? Lucci probably just came over here like, yo, like Luffy's gear 5th. Like where'd this come from?
Yeah, I think like Lucci's situation, it's like this is the difference between Lucci and Who's Who. This is the difference between a genius, right? Because like a lot of people were like you know, when we first got into Egghead and he said like Vegapunk was a genius. I remember saying like that's ironic because Lucci was regarded as a genius, fighter, all that stuff, and people were like a genius of what? We saw like Luffy, blah blah blah, and it's like yes, I get it's pre-time skip and I get like he was a kid, but like even last week when we were talking about it, I did play devil's advocate a little bit, right? I was saying like, yo, he could get conquerors. He was as a kid, he was displayed the same way as Kaido. As he got into CP9, he was a leader. CP0, like I'm gonna ask you a question about that, but like we see how he's portraying himself. Like I don't think it's out of character for this. I think that like what it was is more so like you would have a hard time explaining how Lucci, if you gave him conquerors and went that route, right? Like how do you bloom his hockey? Who did he fight? Like, you know, people would be asking those questions. Luffy went through the New World to all the prominent people, and we have tabs on all the prominent people. So if Lucci was boxing with them, yeah, sure, that makes sense. But it's like, here, I think the biggest thing, and this is going to be sore for a lot of people because it's off of Wano, where it's like Kaido was not awakened. Road to Laugh Tale further.
Don't say that too loud.
There's a lot of people who are out here now saying that this is confirmation that Kaido is awakened. I'm still not on that boat. I don't think it makes awakened. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. And like every single time you go back to the live stream, there's a bunch of people who brought up the thing, and every time I responded them with like, how do you parallel that to Momo, right? Because it's like, if they said that the flame clouds around Kaido were the same flame clouds, and it's like Momo can make those clouds as a kid. Momo's is he awakened? Bro. It's like, is the carp to dragon thing is not the same thing we're talking about here.
And the carp to dragon isn't even a thing.
Yeah, that's a lore thing that inspires the story rather than it's not in the story. When like, you're saying
Momo did that when he was a child, like day one, bro. Like no, that's literally not possible.
And or on the other side, they would be saying that Vegapunk copied an awakened devil fruit, which just doesn't make sense. You can copy a fruit, but I don't know if you could copy the awakened part of it.
Yeah, like, and that plus Vegapunk said the only thing that wasn't perfect was the pink color.
Yeah,
and so he had Kaido's devil fruit. He was never a carp. He never awakened. He had the flame clouds day one. Kaido, as he is, just isn't awakened.
And what we do have to look at here is the cloud shawl, scarf, cloak. I call it, like, cloud cloak, shawl, whatever you want to call it. Like whenever they fully say what that is, I know that there's like a biblical reference, a Japanese reference. Like a lot of people are reaching outside of the Japanese thing, but like this is core to Japanese folklore, where it's like Raijin and Fujin, they have them. A lot of deities have them. Hyogoro was referencing like, Japanese deities. And I think the thing here is like we have to look at Yamato. Yamato had this. Luffy had this. And I point back to my my Lurking Legends video when I talked about why Kaido probably wasn't awakened. And I think the biggest question here is, why is Lucci awakened? I think that explanation is more important than like, does he deserve this thing? I think he deserves it. I think the awakening thing, like, it makes sense, right? Like the leopard thing, we were introduced to this power when we were first like shown like Zoan fruit besides Chopper. Chopper explained to us that it's like, oh my god, this is a carnivorous alpha top predator Zoan fruit, and like they're more ferocious, they're stronger, better, faster than my shitty human fruit. Like everything on the board when it came to Lucci. And then the thing about Lucci is, like, if you compare it to the Luffy, right? Luffy is base joy, like happiness, smiles all around, this dumb kid who just bounces off walls. Well, that fruit makes you able to do that. Super imaginative, all that stuff. It fits it 1-to-1. And you look at Lucci here, I think he fits the leopard fruit. Now, I think the larger question though is, I think you said it earlier too, was like, this isn't a mythical fruit. If a mythical fruit, like if a non-mythical fruit can awaken and then box a mythical sun god Nika, I think that's terrifying. Because we talked about like,
that's good.
It's good, but it's also terrifying because then it's like mythical giraffe. Mythical.
Because the thing with that is like Lucci has a regular Zoan fruit, and I like that he's clashing with mythical sun god Nika. And the reason why is because it shows that just by eating the right devil fruit doesn't guarantee you a win, right?
Yeah. No, I do.
Because
like
it would suck if, like, imagine Luffy, if he did, like, let's say he hypothetically had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, and then he found some dude that had the actual Sun God Nika fruit. That's like saying, oh, Luffy would actually never win just because of the fruit he ate. I would like it more so, and you can kind of see with this, like, Oda is pretty much saying, like, hey, if you just train hard enough, if if your mind and body catch up to your abilities and you awaken like Lucci did, then you can even contest the gods. I think that is a stronger message. Like, eating the right devil fruit doesn't guarantee the win. Like, Enel's a good example. Like, Enel ate the perfect devil fruit, he ruled for the longest time, and then here's Luffy. And yeah, Luffy also ate the right devil fruit, but like, it is what it is. Like, it's Akainu and Ace. Could Ace potentially beat Akainu if he trained up super hard? Had like 10 plus years ahead of him? Like, sure, why not? Like, just because he has the fire fruit doesn't mean he can never overcome magma.
And I think that's exactly where the story is going based off of what Vegapunk says, because once we get to that part, it's like the evolutionary paths, right? And that reflects on like at least 9 of my videos, where it's just like the idea, right? Who's to say? What's the difference between, like, people are still having a understandable problem of discerning whether Luffy is just a mythical Zoan or he is a paramecia as well, like having 2 fruits in one, which is like an interesting thing, because then, like, I remember Brago had a video where it was like, can a devil fruit eat a devil fruit? Or more interestingly, could this be could Nika be like a Blackbeard situation where Blackbeard ate the Yami Yami no Mi and the Gura Gura no Mi? So then what happens to the fruit afterwards? Does it split or does it combine? And then it's like, is Nika one of those things, or are mythical Zoans animals who had, and I explained this to King of Lightning on my stream on Monday, where I was saying, like, I think that the mythical Zoans, at the time at least, I thought mythical Zoans were animals or people that had enough haki for like an ability. And so, like, the dragon, right? So like the carp story is exactly that, where all these regular ass carps were climbing up this waterfall, and one carp had enough willpower to make it to the top, and he was rewarded for that. And if you apply that to any other animal, it's like, if the way Rayleigh, for example, again, clarifying, this was in the anime, not in the manga, but it was in Ruskaina, which I like, 3D2Y wasn't in the manga, but like a lot of people hold that as canon to some extent because it had Red Hawk in it, right? And so one thing Rayleigh says then is like, animals have less emotions and they're less complex than people are. And so that's why they're easier to read with observation hockey, easier to control with conquerors hockey, all that stuff. And I was like, on my head, I'm like, what if an animal gets hockey? Like, what happens then? I think they become mythical then. Like, not every animal is out there becoming, like, can shoot fire breath, right? Like, I imagine, like, there's a select few. How do those animals get there? I would think it's the same thing as desire. I would think that's willpower. They desired to make it to the top of the waterfall, became a dragon, for example. Phoenix would be like a bird that wanted to live forever, and then it became a phoenix, right? Something like that.
And we even have a good example with Chopper's fruit, which is the human fruit. Like, that could have been an animal wanting to be a person. Or it could be like, simple, like Fishman wanting to be a human, Lunari wanting to be a person. Like, it could go many ways if it's simply just desires, which we do learn later.
Yeah, and we like, Papag is the best example. I bring him up all the time on my thing, but I think someone commented on my stream where it's just like, wait, Papag is just the natural version of Chopper's fruit. And I'm like, yeah, he willed himself to be human and speak human, and he thought he was human. So what if Papag ends up, like, through still an unknown way, creating a devil fruit? Would that not be the human fruit of some sort, right?
Imagine if Blackbeard died, but you had so many people saying, yo, like, Blackbeard was a crazy pirate. Yo, Blackbeard did this, Blackbeard did that. And then all of a sudden, there pops up a mythical Zoan, like the human fruit model Blackbeard, and it has the Gura and the Yami Yami already in it. Like, that would be kind of nuts.
Exactly. That is exactly what I think it is. And so, like, who's to say that, like, Lucci cannot reach mythical levels with his cat fruit? Right? Because he could, like, and then what that would mean is that because it's evolutionary path, the way I see it is that the next devil fruit would just be the mythical leopard or some shit like that. The mythical leopard model Lucci. And then eventually there would be regular models of cats or regular models of the other things. Because that's something that's also pretty important, is that we do have regular models. Like Chopper's is a generic one. I think Funk Frida was a generic one. There's a few other generic fruits that were just, Lasso. Like the, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, like, yo, Lucci, this doesn't even need to be his ceiling. There could be more. There could be more to his
I'm
thing.
hoping there is. I'm at the point where a lot of people is like, I don't know, everybody's like, oh, like, no way Lucci's lasting another chapter. No way Lucci's doing this. And I'm like, I hope he does. I hope he is crazy.
Yeah, I like, here's, okay, so we hit the Lucci thing, and there's a lot of questions and Vegapunk stuff that we'll get onto. Here's a question.
What's up?
You replace Lucci and Guernica in Onigashima. What happens?
Oh, see, I don't know. See, if Lucci was on Kaido's side during that fight, like, it would be game over. Like,
okay, when Luffy gets smacked and it's Lucci, just replace it with Lucci. What happens in that scenario? Kaido, Lucci takes the thing, and then Luffy's bopped, right? And then, Lucci's
you're talking about like the Guernica
scenario.
and Kaido standoff.
Yeah, what happens there?
Dude, if Awakened Lucci... Okay, so if Awakened Lucci can box, like, Gear 5th Luffy equally, like, seemingly equal from this chapter, let me tell you right here, like, all I gotta say is that Lucci would survive long enough, easily, for Sun God Niga to arise, and they just tag team Kaido down with, like, pretty much, like, mid to low diff. Like... Dude,
you know what?
Lucci, if Lucci and Luffy comboed Kaido, actual game over.
You know what I was picturing? Goku and Frieza teaming up against Jiren.
Like that is what it is.
I think we get that at the end. I think we get that because now that we get the antithesis of Black Cloud thing and Luffy, I think at the end of the series we do get a Frieza. Like that'd be so
Dude,
sick.
If Lucci and Luffy teamed up, like my fanboyism just can't keep up, bro. Like it's gone.
How many people do you think in the chat are throwing up, or do you think a lot of your
They would
viewers...
hate that. See, like people already don't like Lucci being this strong.
Yeah,
But like it's a shonen at the end of the day. One Piece is goofy, right? Like One Piece started out really goofy, so many gags, so many jokes, and as we progressed in the series, we've gotten more and more serious.
Yeah.
That whenever there is like a gag or a joke, people are kind of up in arms, and it's like no, like this is kind of where it's always been, right? Like Oda has his favorites. Oda likes certain characters. Oda knows what people like. If people are still hailing Lucci and Luffy as the best pre-time skip fight, there ain't no way he's not gonna bring that back for round 2, right? He's gonna run it back. He's building up Lucci, like, and that's what we're getting here.
I tried to bait you into a bad answer, but you answered in the same way. I thought you'd go off the rails and say that Lucci kills both of them. Because like I feel like there's some people who would say that in that scenario, Lucci would kill Kaido and Luffy, and he would just be...
Yeah, too many powerhouses at once. Like, I mean, but that's also saying that if Luffy and Lucci do team up, which I don't know if they would, but if they did, hypothetically... Kaido,
I think it'd look
cool. Kiss the title goodbye, bro. Like King of Beasts, no. You just got whooped by 2 other Zoans. Come on. Which, by the way, King of Beasts not awakened. King of Beasts, like he has the whole army. None of them are awakened, bro. Like, it's like Kaido's stocks are kind of going down. Like, I like Kaido as much as the next guy. I have, like, look at this. I got the Kaido tattoo, bro. But let me tell you right now, like, I might have to get a leopard next. All I gotta say.
You can put on the leopard on the other side.
Yeah, put the leopard right here. Like, all right, guys.
Like,
it is what it is. The old, the new King of Beasts.
I think the awakenings, again, there's that video, the Lurking Legends ones, where basically, to give you guys a little bit of insight on that one with the Kaido thing, when you look at Kaido versus Yamato, which is the one I think I dissected the most there, Yamato, and I didn't even notice this when I made this video, that Yamato had the cloak. I didn't even attribute that to the awakening. But now I could go back and like redo that video and just add the cloak in, and it's even more impactful. Where it's like, Yamato was told she had the guardian deity fruit. And what did she want to do? She wanted to guard Wano. When you look at what she wanted to do and what the fruit was proposed to be, like prostrated to be, it's 1 in 1. It's the wills aligning. I think Luffy's wills align. I think Lucci's wills align. I think that Kaido's fruit, I think the dragon is actually like a good spirit in some regard. Like if you were to, if I know the black and white thing is a little odd at the moment, which I do want to point out, there's like the black cloak, it could not be black. Like as surprising as that sounds, because we see in the same panel next, we see Luffy's band, which is supposed to be purple, is black, and it's the same color and shading as like Lucci's thing. So it's like Lucci could have different color, and then what that opens up is that maybe there's this like a bunch of different colors, like so there's a like maybe 6 like for Wisdom Kings or something like that, and there's a bunch of ones with different color light, which like Yamato had like a little bit of a bluish green tinge. I don't really
bluish green, gray.
Yeah, it was like something in
colors.
between. And so with the Kaido thing, right, like we have to understand that when we got introduced, his hobby was unaliving himself. And that whole thing, I thought we were keeping this YouTube friendly. What?
Suicide Boys is a great artist.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah, definitely great artist. Yep. Take that with the advertisers. But the point being is that
not a sponsored video.
Yeah, true. Is that Kaido
was sponsored by Manscaped, which is also the sponsor of this video. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. That's
I was like shocked. I was like, wait, you don't have any hair on your body. How are they sponsoring you?
Manscaped.
I was like, where's my sponsor? Hello? But yeah, the Kaido thing, it's like that turmoil, which is, I think, like not addressed by his backstory. I think that is the core of the awakening as to why he couldn't awaken, right? He has conquerors, whatever. Lucci doesn't have conquerors. It doesn't matter. It's that will part. I don't think his will and the dragon will lined up. And I think that is probably what might have drove Kaido to become the depressed thing. Because if you're possessed by this will that's like constantly telling you to do one thing, and then you like fail to it or something, and then but your natural way is this other way, then you're just like that's like a imposter syndrome. That's like so many people's mental health issues is like
And
this direction that you
is,
feel like you should be and you're not, you know?
we know that devil fruits, or at least Zoans, have a will.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, you could be completely right. Like, maybe the dragon fruit is like, hey, let's do this. And then Kaido's like, suicide.
Yeah, and,
like, let me cut you off right there.
And so in that video, I talk about this really interesting detail that, like, so that was at the end of a series for the Yonko series where the Yonkos from Rocks Pirates all had this, like, affinity for Fishman. They all gave Fishman a pass. For Whitebeard, he saved all of Fishman Island and he brought all the people onto his side. Big Mom gave Fishman Island a pass as well. The other island that didn't pay the tribute got raised instantly. But with Fishman Island, she gave them a pass. And then even when Luffy claimed it and Luffy left Fishman Island, she didn't do anything to Fishman Island. And she gave Jinbei preferential treatment even when he walked up to her. Right? Like, there was so many details with Fishman that was really important. And then we go to Kaido. Kaido has a few interesting ones. One with Jack. He really loves Jack. And we find out he's a Fishman.
Jack is a prodigy.
Yeah, and then on top of that, there's a detail that I didn't include in the video, but I thought was really, really crazy. Was there was one person in Udon who got preferential treatment technically.
Kawamatsu.
Yeah, and Orochi wanted to kill him, but why was he alive? But then on top of that, why wasn't he working? Why wasn't he doing slave labor?
Bro, not even the prison guards knew who Kawamatsu was. They're like, I think there's like somebody in there. Like, we put fish in there and then bones come out. Like, I don't know what's going on.
When everybody else would be executed by Orochi, but for some reason, Kawamatsu
the fish is alive, bro.
The fish. And so the thing is, the reason why that's interesting is because the dragon fruit might be the guardian deity of Fishman Island. Because when you look at Ryugu Palace, Ryugu means Imperial Dragon.
Yeah.
And they have an Imperial Dragon it's Imperial Dragon Kingdom, Imperial Dragon Palace with an Imperial Dragon on the top that is Kaido. It looks like Kaido. And so, and then on top of that, on Wano, they were saying that he's prostrated as the guardian deity of land, which would make sense for Fishman, like their guardian deity to be a land deity. So it might be that Kaido like had this interesting issue that he had to deal with and he wasn't fulfilling it, which Yamato, Luffy, and apparently Lucci all fulfilled. And I think that's the route that makes the most sense.
When I think of Lucci and like leopards, bro, they are killers. And let me tell you right now, Lucci caught 2 bodies in 2 chapters. He is fulfilling that will quite well.
Yeah, there's I think Lucci, he just is that guy. And it's so cool that he gave him like a leopard fruit. Right? Like a leopard fruit is kind of cool too. Like I think it fits, and I don't think like
Akira Toriyama is rolling in his studio right now. He's so upset. Because, so if you guys don't know, the reason why Cell has never made a comeback to a big extent in the manga is because Toriyama says he doesn't like drawing Cell because he's the hardest character to draw because of his spots.
The patches.
Yeah, the patches. And then now we have like freaking Oda drawing Rob Lucci with the leopard pattern like the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, like let me tell you right now, like Akira Toriyama, man, it's a manga diff.
Yeah,
it's a mangaka diff right here. I don't want to draw the comparisons, but it's not looking too good.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Oh, what's up?
No, I was just gonna say, like, the one thing though is like you said, like being this strong is different, right? Like this strong is game breaking, and like
it's crazy.
And I asked you this on my thing, but maybe 6 hours makes a difference.
What's up?
When Kizaru shows up, who's the strongest person on the island? Besides
Lucci and Luffy.
Lucci and Luffy. Damn.
Lucci and Luffy are always going to be the strongest on this island. Kizaru, see, if Kizaru... Okay, so we don't know what an awakened Logia looks like. We have yet to see that. If Kizaru is an awakened Logia, answer can change. Like, but right now, my feelings alone, Lucci would be the strongest character on this island minus Luffy. Luffy and Lucci, top tier. And then, you know, we can go down the chain later, but...
Yeah.
Speaking of going down the chain, before we move on, I want to talk about Kaku, because he's so nonchalant. Like, you mentioned it in your live stream and live reaction. Like, yo, like, Kaku is just chilling. He's so, like, composed. He doesn't care. He's kind of goofing around. And me and you both came to the same conclusion of Is he an awakened giraffe?
I think it makes sense, right? Because if like I think of it like this, right? Like yeah, Zoro asterisk on there because I have a video on that. But the part where it's like Luffy gets Conqueror's coding, Zoro gets Conqueror's coding of some sort, right? Like in tandem, and then like Kaku was Zoro's opponent, and like in there he got the Ashura thing, and that's what he used against Kaido, right? Like Kaku got the Kaido treatment, essentially the pre-time skip Kaido treatment. Kaku should be respected. If you respect the Zoro and Luffy on like this tier and then Sanji down here, that's how like Lucci and Kaku is. So as far up you put Lucci, like you could put Kaku there. The only problem for it is Lucci had his fruit for a very long time, whereas Kaku had it within the story, right?
That is true.
That is the main thing.
But Kaku knows a lot about giraffes. All I gotta say, his knowledge on giraffes,
no, he
phenomenal.
Doesn't, bro.
Pasta machine. Oh, dude, it's game over. But here's the thing. Here's the thing too. Now that we have Lucci awakened, I think it wouldn't be too crazy to have Kaku awakened. I know it's a like obsolete scale, but back when they were doing the Doriki scale with the strength scaling of CP9, like Kaku wasn't far behind. Like I know you're kind of laughing at it, but like he wasn't far. Like if he kept up and he was with Lucci this entire time, I don't think it would be super crazy if Kaku was an awakened giraffe and was pretty dang strong enough to give Zoro a decent challenge. And
what were their Dorikis?
Lucci was 4,000. Kaku was, I think, either 36. Oh, wait. It's either 32, 36, 38. It was like some, like, something divisible by 200.
This is ridiculous that you even brought that shit up. Dorikis is the funniest thing ever. I remember when Dorikis
I know all about Doriki. I love the government. So the thing is too, is that now that we have Lucci, now that we have Kaku, supposedly showing out, I have the wish numbers. Jabra was here. You have the numbers. Yeah, Jabra would be cool. Was that close?
Rob Lucci was 4,000.
Okay. Nice,
Kaku was 2,200.
Oh!
Jabra 2,180. So he was 20 below.
It was literally like a Zoro and Sanji thing. Huh? Yeah. Zoro and Sanji, Kaku and Jabra. I wish Jabra was here.
Yeah, what happened? Like he had the wolf fruit. That's a dope. And he had it longer.
And here's the thing, he was a wolf. Like he was actually like how we could say Lucci's acting like a leopard. Kaku is acting like a perfect logical giraffe. Jabra acted like a wolf. Like where's
like
the
a
man?
Cosplayer. Like he played like the big bad wolf kind of thing with Usopp and Sanji, and he did that whole skit.
We have Spandam is in CP0, Blueno Khalifa's in CP0. Like where's Jabra, bro? Like where's my man?
Yeah, wow, I'm kind of sad.
But you know what?
Stussy, whatever, it's fine.
We got to move on, bro. Like we got to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the White Warrior. Vegapunk rolls in on the next, like underneath the panel, and he says, "Shaka, is he on screen? The White Warrior, like
the myth, the legend himself,
the white one,
the man of our dreams, the White Warrior,
the god, the Sun God." Yo, he called him the White Warrior. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm almost that was so interested funny, man. What a
meme. It sounds so goofy.
I need to see the officials for it. Wait, you got to see the Raws, right? Is this like roughly what it translates to in the Raw?
The Raws are White Warrior, OP Scans White Warrior, TCB White Warrior. Dude, Viz is gonna say White Warrior. Like there we go. Like I'm very much convinced.
What if they say the Blank Warrior?
The Blank? Nah, that don't make sense.
The Void Warrior.
The Void Warrior. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be. That's probably the White Warrior. I think
it's probably white, bro.
I think it's more interesting because he talks about it like he saw it. Like they. Where did they see this? Right?
Maybe they synced up, right? Like maybe like the earpiece or something.
No,
like
Shaka's
not
that.
Like, do you hear this? Like, there's
not
something
that,
going
but
on
like is he on screen the White Warrior? So they know the White Warrior from something, right? But who knew like Nika, right? Sun God Nika. He didn't know what he looked like. He had a silhouette, but like that's just like what he imagined, right? But that's not like written down on a book. The way they talked about it is like they read it out of a book. The White Warrior. You know what I mean? Like where did they? Well, do you think that's in Ohara? Like the White Warrior?
Vegapunk said it was described in ancient texts. So it could be that. There could even be some like inscription inside the ancient robot. Maybe like on a poneglyph that Clover told him about. There's a lot of ways Vegapunk could have found out about the White Warrior.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because the Ohara knowledge side of it. Because like, again, I have to reread the thing. But wasn't it like Robin read all the books there? Like she kind of knows.
She read a lot of the book, but she didn't read the poneglyphs, though.
Yeah, she didn't read the poneglyphs.
So if this was on the poneglyphs of Ohara, then Robin wouldn't have read it. She learned how to read it, but she didn't know like what was written on their poneglyph. To our knowledge, right? You could always change. You know, yeah, Robin could come out next chapter and say, "Oh my God, it's the White Warrior I've heard about so long ago."
Yeah, but, like to our knowledge, we have no clue. He looks just like that god described in the ancient text. I'm like, what ancient text? Like, was it the? Like, are you reading poneglyphs? Like, or was it the Library of Ohara? Like, how accessible is this information? So, where do we find this?
Here's the question. Do you think Vegapunk can read poneglyphs?
I mean, if Robin could learn it from their, like, the notes from Ohara, I don't see why he couldn't, right?
Yeah,
like,
same.
It kind of just makes sense that and that's what's interesting. I think the only difference between Robin and Vegapunk should just be the amount that they can memorize, right? But like every instance of opportunity to display Robin's genius is it's like she remembers everything. Anything she reads, she just remembers, right? Like
yeah.
And it just doesn't make like it's not even good story for it to be like, oh, Robin just forgot the poneglyph on Arabasta. It's been 2 years, you know what I mean? Like
Robin hit her head in chapter 207 and she was never the same.
Yeah, so like even in that regard, it doesn't make sense to create that difference. But like, yeah, I think it would just make sense if Vegapunk could read the poneglyphs.
So we got the White Warrior, Sun God Nika, and the crew is actually learning this too. I love that Usopp, Sanji, Nami, like they're all like, "Yo, I thought this was the Gomu fruit, man. Like Luffy's a god. Like I thought he was like an idiot. Like, are you serious?" So we have this all going on, and we're going to skip past the Luffy and Lucci part. We'll kind of tackle that all together. Yeah. And we learn that devil fruits are a manifestation of desire, a manifestation of dreams, and the next step of human evolution. And then, you know, it pretty much says it's a possibility for humanity. The sea hates it. Mother Nature is the sea. You know, it's such an alien concept. That's why they drown. And then he ends it off with like you watch Game Theory? Yeah, you watch Game Theory? Vegapunk's like, but that's just my theory, a devil fruit theory. Like the dude's a meme. I feel like he always ends off his sentences like that or like his theories like that because he doesn't want to be credible if like they're not true. He's like, all right, you know what? Yeah, that was just a theory, whatever. Like this could be entirely false, right? Like we could learn the true reason why devil fruits are here, and Vegapunk would be like, well, I mean, I told you, I was kind of a guess, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's true. Like Vegapunk, he's not a meme. This is probably the way devil fruits are made. There's probably more to it that we don't know about just yet, like in the ancient history or whatever. But base level, they are desires in human evolution, which brings me to the next question. Are you Par, the one that wished for the cream no mi?
I'm gonna have to say negative.
You have the Milky Road stream? It's up on your VODs. I mean, if somebody willed that into existence, it had to have been you.
I also have the knock-up stream.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it's the hobby no mi.
You could go out on a limb and say, I am the propulsion no mi.
Oh my goodness. See, I like this explanation because it opens up so many theories, but at the same time, I'm like, yo, like some devil fruits are kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, like this whole thing was like, you know, it's funny to go on other people's streams and then they're like it's like finally clicking, but like this has just been like the conversation on my channel for more than a year, right? Like it's like for example, the word desire, right? Go back to the stream with Cole earlier on Monday. I was ingraining in him. I was just like, bro, the key word is desire. Desire is the more important thing. in creating devil fruits, and we're talking about devil fruit origins and how it come to be, and like he thinks that there's a text side, which is fair, and like that created this. And so when the word comes up, it says these deviations are of course unnatural. He's saying that there's tech. For me, I think there's something else, and that is the thing that you were talking about, where it's like Vegapunk probably gave us a very close answer, but it's not like the full answer. And that main thing that we're missing, like there's like probably 4 or 5 things we're missing, but the main thing that we're missing is that what does it mean to be unnatural, and how did it become unnatural? Because when we're talking about evolution and the different paths to it, then how could evolution become unnatural? There would have to be some kind of intervention, and some kind of something that was involved. And is that an entity? Is that tech? Is that what is that? And why is it that the unnatural part of it, something that Mother Nature, which is the sea, hates it, right? Those are like the data points that we can take to figure out what the unnatural part is. I have a few ideas, but like I think at the end of the day, like you said, I think this is it for a lot of people, this is probably like one of the biggest parts of the chapter. For me, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. Like this is it.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Like, and the thing is, it's One Piece, right? Like I feel like we gotta like sometimes reel it back, like, okay, maybe it doesn't need to be something super convoluted. So like the desired will, like that makes sense. It's One Piece. Like, yeah, I'll go with it. Yeah, and it's like you said, it's base level. Like Vegapunk himself said that he was close to uncovering the Void Century. Like he was right there, bro, like on the cusp of it. So with that information, we could say, like, yeah, like he's close to understanding the devil fruits, but he's not entirely there yet. He's very close, though.
Like if we were to scale this, right? Like think about it like this. There's the legendary Iron Giant that he can't even start. Like that's how much missing information he has.
Like he doesn't have the gasoline, bro. Like gas prices are going up. It's like what, $4.39. The guy can't afford it. No funding from the world government. Like he can't do that.
And like I'm waiting for the official translations here, but like there's some buzzwords that I've been talking about, which is like the elemental hockey stuff. And I've been wanting to remake that video for a long time, but now I'm kind of like Oda forced my hand and kind of had to do it. But the passions of the soul is like the ideology that I think Oda based hockey around, like it by Rene Descartes, French philosopher. The reason why I stumbled upon it was because I made the Sanji video, and the Sanji video, Sanji's based off of like, you know, he has inspirations from French inspirations. That's like his moves. Sauce. that is a disgusting sauce. He has a lot of inspirations. His move sets, French, like all that stuff. It just makes sense that like when we're talking about emotions, Sanji's the most emotional. Obviously, we get that highlighted many, many times. And so the word emotion was coined from France, right? The interesting thing that gets a lot of people is emotions. You think like you break up the word emotion, but that's not what it is. It's like emotoire or something like that. And it's the word to mean to stir. And to stir is what we get, the devil fruits, the swirls, like all the clouds that we see on the awakened Zoans, like all that stuff. And the important part is that desire is one of those things. Not just desire, it's joy. Joy is one of the main 6 passions. The opposite to joy is sadness. Then there's love, which is Sanji. Hatred is the opposite. We see love and hate in Sanji. Then the 2 that do not have opposing ones are desire and wonder. And desire and wonder were both words mentioned here. We live in a wondrous world, and these powers come out of desire. But something that I highlighted was, you know, and a lot of people can maybe recognize this even more after watching Film Red. I'm not going to spoil Film Red, but the movie I want to put in highlight is Strong World. Strong World is very, very important. And I'm not going to give you guys all the sauce. You guys can go find that sauce yourself. It's not French sauce, but it is good sauce. Which is that in that movie, Oda essentially sandboxed and storyboarded the entire time skip up to Kaido getting defeated with Bajran Gun. It's literally 1-to-1. Where you look at like Sanji's retrieval arc is Nami's retrieval arc in the movie. And then like there's so many other things with Dr. Indigo, Caesar, they're the same voice actors, same scientists kind of thing. They both control gases. Go watch the video. There's so many things, but the one thing that I highlighted in that video was we get the opposite thing here, where in that movie, Oda gives us a parallel version of devil fruits. It's called IQ plant. And so Dr. Indigo,
IQ plants, bro.
Yeah, and Dr. Indigo made a synthetic version, which was be the smile run. So it's called SIQ. So it's the plant, and then the SIQ would be smiles, and then devil fruits. The thing about the devil fruits is, or not the devil fruits, the IQ plant was that it increased your brain's ability to evolve. That was what the IQ plant was. And so you had an island that Shiki oppressed, a village that was there. It's called Maryville. And so these people were just normal people.
Rightfully enslaved.
Sure. They were just normal people. And they...
Stirring the pot.
Yes, you're stirring the pot. They were there in a floating island, right? So they can't escape. It's not even oceans, right? Like oceans, you can sail off. You can be Odin, Yamato, sail away, Luffy, whatever. You can't do that in the sky. You just fall off and die. And then Shiki's monitoring you as well. So in that, during their oppression, they wondered about what a life would be off the island. And their running theory was that, if you guys didn't know, those people grew wings. Not Skypean wings. Wings on their arms. And they thought that it's because they desired to leave the island that they were able to grow that. Bro. Because the proximity to the IQ plant, which makes sense with the thing. And now here's the main thing. What was the island's name called? It was Marivel, which is French for wonder. Which ties back to the whole, like... the philosophy that I'm saying that this is based off of. It's like, it's one to one. It's there. It's literally there.
So quick with their evolution that I wonder if like something could happen here where like, or we can see like a real case where somebody wants a devil fruit or wants a power to exist, and then it does actually become available. And
you know who that character is?
Sanji?
It's either Sanji or it's Zoro. I think it's Zoro more than Sanji.
What would Zoro's power be?
And so I have a video on this. It was the most, I know it was batshit crazy. I showed it to King of Lightning and he was just like, this is crazy. But like, we were closer to this. I made this a year ago. It was one of my it was the first Straw Hat power up video I made. And his power up is that, and it doesn't sound crazy now that we got this, is that I was thinking that he would be an example of a natural Zoan. So like, you know how we have Zoan fruits, but like my whole hypothesis was that devil fruits came from people and people desired these powers and then they turned into devil fruits through some way we don't know. So what that would imply is that there are people, devil seed users, which is another video we talk about, but there's people who would be able to get these powers. The easiest one would be like Polly, right? Polly from Galila, rope fruit. The devil fruit version of that is Doflamingo with the string fruit, right? So then if you have Paramecias and you can maybe think that there's Logias of some sort, then I was like, wait, what about Zoans? And then what I realized was that what are all of Zoro's moves? They're all animals, but they're not just that. When you look at, like, for example, he modifies his body. He has a move called the Ichi ni Gorilla, where he actually just gets a large biceps and he changes his body and he almost looks like a muscle point chopper. And I'm just like, wait, that's literally Zoro becoming an animal. And every time he needs to do that, he just wills it. He literally wills himself to become like the animal. He fought a tiger in Wano, and guess what the tiger looked like? It looked like him. Oda's literally teasing us this thing. And then, so I made that video, but then there was an extension. And this was interesting, but we never got the fruition of it. Was when he was, at the beginning when he was fighting King, I believe it's chapter 1023. He says to King, like, even if I lose, or like, even if I forget what he said exactly, but no matter what, I'll win, even if I have to rip your throat out with my teeth. That's what Zoro said in chapter 1023. And I was just like, wait, what? When has Zoro ever said something like that? He's never said anything like that. And we progress to a point where it's like Zoro keeps on doing like animal-like abilities and becomes more animal-like. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just became an animal. And then, you know, there's a lot of, connections with it. There was a specific spiritual beast that a lot of people, like, at the time, it was like, we got the dragon, we got the phoenix, there was the tiger, and then there was a turtle. And so tiger was Byakuya, and that was what I was saying, like Zoro, because it shared the same thematics, the birthday, the season. There's so many other things, but it was really, I don't know. I feel like though that theory might not come to full fruition, we have the building blocks for it now. Especially when Vegapunk says it's like, devil fruits are a manifestation of the desire to see how different paths of evolution can play out, right? Like, if you push Zoro to the edge, I'm saying I think he would become a demon, right? Like, I think that's bar none. I think of all the characters, of all the characters in One Piece, Zoro would be the one to transcend or drop from humanity to be able to pursue his goals. Right?
That'd be kind of cool. Sense. Like, I just wish we saw one use case of this, or at least we could see like how Vegapunk recreates devil fruits. Even I think even that would be nice. Like, just to see like what if we go to like one of Vegapunk's like rooms, like research labs, and it's just like 10 people in a room, like, yes, giraffe, yeah, and then all of a sudden you see like a giraffe devil fruit pop up. Like, I want to see how he does this.
I'm sure people are going to comment this. There's some more special sauce, but this is a special sauce. In Strong World, the way you grow IQ plants is with moonlight. So that's the main ingredient for IQ plants. And so it's like, if everything else parallel to something real in the story of One Piece, I wouldn't be surprised if that moonlight aspect of growing devil fruits, or maybe it's sunlight or whatever, but sunlight's stupid. It would be moonlight probably, right? Like, or something. I don't know. Like, I feel like that missing gap is what Vegapunk might be missing, right? To make it on his own. Not too sure though. Not too sure.
I think I would lean towards sunlight, but not a special sun though. Something that might even correlate to Sun God Nika itself.
Yeah, something like that.
But so we get this crazy revelation, and then in the background of all of this, we get like Luffy and Lucci fighting, bro. Like, we have Luffy using full-on Toon Force. Lucci can't land a hit for a little bit, and then they do end up clashing. Luffy's putting his back into it. You see it in the place in the panel where it says they live in a totally alien existence. Luffy's like, he's squinting one eye. You see like the whole like thing going off on his face. He's putting his back into it, and then they both get flung back. It's an amazing callback to chapter 409 where they first clash, and people are so upset by this, bro. They're like, no way Luffy's getting pushed back. No way Luffy's hitting the wall because of this. But it's like, what's happening, man? Like, this is it.
It's interesting that's being said, because when I see this, I see Luffy having the upper hand through and through. Like, yeah, sure, his power is to smile through everything, but like, it looks like Lucci is trying. Like, even in that punched clash, it to me, I see that as like Lucci is putting everything into that, and Luffy's just like, he's like, we've seen what Luffy's capable of, and we see like his face, he's like grimacing, and then there's like more grimacing, and it's like, sure, Kaido would be in that light too, but like, this is not the end of like, this is like beginning of Gear 5 that we saw. This is
the beginning of the fight, because like, this is the first clash that starts the original fight.
Yeah.
Like, so, and then after that, they just kept on going higher and higher. Like, this is the beginning. And the thing with Luffy smiling and like goofing around, like, that's just his devil fruit. Like, he's doing that. He did that with Kaido. There's one panel of Kaido that I'll never forget. It was so disrespectful, where Kaido was going with his Kanabo. He swung on the ground, and what Luffy did to dodge it, bro, he grabbed his jock and like he lifted it up. Like,
Inspector Gadget.
That is actually how he dodged the attack, like, and he was laughing the entire time. Like, I don't think Luffy grimacing is necessarily him not trying. That's just how he's always gonna be, right?
Yeah.
Because like, even Vegapunk says he's the warrior that brings laughter and joy to everyone. Like, he's a goofy guy. He's silly and goofy.
From memory, Luffy, after colliding with Kaido, there was like a few times where he got hit with the Boro breath, or he got hit and he was in pain, and then he lost his smile here and there. And like, again, it's like, you can't ascertain Luffy's like
damage or anything.
Not damage, but also his effort, right? Like that's not like we couldn't even do that with the original one with when he was fighting Kaido. Like I think you'd be hard pressed to figure out, like, is Luffy even taking damage right now? Like is he accumulating damage? Is he trying? It's kind of hard, right? Like he's just jump roped Kaido. Like I don't know what that means.
He jump roped him. He grabbed through the eyes, and then even when Luffy got hit by the bolo breath, bro, like what he turned black and then ashy, and then he shook it off, and then he ran towards him. Like, bro, like he just memes. Like the guy's an actual meme. That's his power. And it is like very reminiscent of like old school cartoons. So like we can't even knock it. And since we're here, we might as well like knock out all of the fight while we're at it.
Yeah, one thing I want to add though was I'm curious to know how far what Vegapunk said extends out, because he says lives a totally alien existence. The alien part just means like unknown. Like a lot of people are assuming like space invader type of things, but that it just means like mystery, right? Yeah. I'm sure maybe the other scans or maybe the officials are going to change that. I'm going to look at the raws, but what it kind of implies is that it's not just Luffy's fruit that is imagination based. It's like all of the fruits. So
he was describing all devil fruits.
Yeah, and why that's interesting is because what we understood from King, what we understood from Sasaki, right? Queen, like they were all like, this is how dinosaurs work. But no, that was just their imagination of it. But the thing is, because their imagination did that, now that's how they evolved. That's what it kind of feels like, right? And that could be applied to anything, I think. So it's like, if Lucci like thinks that leopards have like 3 arms or 4 arms,
he might get a 3rd arm. Who knows?
Yeah, like, he has the
like
tail.
How we got the gag with like the beast pirates, like, like Sasuke's like over here helicoptering around with this thing. It's like maybe Lucci thinks leopards have 2 heads.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people won't like that, because then it's just like whatever the character thinks goes kind of thing, and it's just like an imagination.
They have to really believe it though.
Yeah, and I just want to point that out, because like a lot of people also are like, this is Lucci's ceiling, but I feel like this is Lucci's foundation. And I was thinking that originally when he said the Rokugan, I was like, okay, this is the foundation and there's more to go. But then we got hit with the various translations of like merciless, or he's going all out and all that stuff, and it made it a little confusing to understand like what Lucci's scenario was there. But at this point, I feel like sky's the limit. I feel like sky's the limits here.
I mean, like I said, if this is paralleling 409, after this, like, Lucci did this in base form, right? Luffy did this in base form. After this, like, they can only go higher. And even this chapter, like, what? The last part of the fight, which we'll end off on with this segment, Luffy uses Gomu Gomu no mole pistol. He punches into the ground. We talked about the semantics of how hard this actually hits. I think it's pretty hard. It could, block it a little bit like a boxing glove. It could do more damage because it's like his fist and he's rubberizing the ground. We don't really know. But we have Lucci hitting the white of his eyes, blood coming out. And then people are like, oh, yo, like, check this out. Like, that did so much damage. Like, he got hit pretty hard. But it's like, he came back. Like, he came back in, like, what, 1 page? And not only that, but like he didn't even like mention it whatsoever. He's not saying anything about it. He like there's not even a bruise on his chest. Like it is how it is. And if you really think about it, like Luffy used a named attack on Lucci, it hit him. Lucci has not used a singular named attack on Luffy. And we see the Shugon at the end of the chapter. He hasn't even tried that on Luffy yet. So like, to the people who were trying to downplay Luffy or even downplay Lucci, like, I'd say just wait for the next chapter. Like we'll see how high they can go, and I feel like this fight is just starting. This is the beginning.
It's interesting because I don't like we don't know a lot about Luffy. We don't know about we know a lot about Luffy, but like Gear 5 Luffy, right? And his power, the time limit, like what does it mean? Like how does he we didn't even see him transform. We just went into it. And which is so odd considering like every other transformation had a big, like, this is Gear 5, right? And then last time when he did it, we just we entered in the mode, and then we got the Gorosei explanation, and then Luffy says Gear 5, and then here he just jumps into it. Whereas like, you know, Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd, Gear 4, they were always hyped up in the beginning. And I'm a little interested because now we have canonically two, not mythical, but two awakened Zoans from our best understanding fighting each other. And we know nothing about it. And but it also doesn't make sense to tell us anything about it because Vegapunk doesn't know. Do they know?
Yeah, we're just going with it.
Yeah, and then when you're saying like the limits, right? Like Lucci having more limits, like to me, I'm like, I don't know where the foundation is with the Awakened Zoans, right? Because my foundation was the Impel Down dudes, right? Like,
and now they're obsolete.
Yeah.
The only Impel Down trait that carried on was their insane recovery.
Yeah, and durability. But
and durability, yes. And we saw that, dude. Lucci literally comes back, doesn't even mention the mole pistol. He's like, all right, I'm killing Sentomaru. And that's what he did. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. And, like, people try to downscale Lucci, but, like, bro, like, this is an attack that hurt Kaido, too. Like these attacks hurt. Like, come on. Like, if anybody else took these attacks, like, they'd probably be down for the count.
Yeah.
So Lucci even just taking this and getting back up in less than a page and killing somebody else is like that's insane.
Yeah, like we don't know if Sentomaru's dead, but like Sentomaru is no slouch, right? Like
he's not a slouch. He's not dead. Like I think that's the wrong way to put it, but like he caught a fat hit.
No, but what I mean is like on Saba Odi, he was really, really strong, and he's still strong post time skip. It's just like the fight didn't Luffy and Sentomaru weren't going to fight like that, right? Yeah. And it's like, this 2 years later, Sentomaru is probably also really strong too, and yet he got no diff, blitzed, one shot, handgun, through the chest. That has
Rio.
And he's supposed to be, like, isn't his whole thing, isn't he like the shield dude? Like his epithet
he's like one of the world's most like tight-lipped and defensive men.
Yeah, something like that. And he just got swatted by wrong word, but like he got clapped by Lucci, and
he got the Merchant of Death 101, bro. Like he didn't see it coming. That's just how it is.
And like if Sentomaru could get handled like that, what about like Lucci versus Jinbei? What about Lucci versus?
Oh, don't. If I give my opinions, there's gonna be a lot of heated debates. But let me tell you right now, Lucci's pretty top tier. Like. You can't deny it, right?
Yeah.
Like, what other character could clash with Gear 5th Luffy? Like, probably Zoro could for a second. Sanji could for a second. But, like, Gear 5th Luffy, like one of the pinnacles to our knowledge right now, clashing with Leopard Awakening Zoan user Lucci. Like, this is something that nobody saw coming. And the sky's the limit. Like, this is up to Oda. Like, at this point, like, he could even say that Lucci wins this clash, and like we just have to accept it. Like
that's the scarier part about this is like, you know, it's not just a character who's really strong. This is also a character who's also like really, really smart. Like Lucci's really smart. I mean, he's a spy. CP's 90, whatever number you give him, he's touted to be really, really smart at a minimum, and we see that play out in the chapter where the exact thing that we talked about regarding the Kizaru thing showing up, where it's like the beginning of the chapter, you're like, Kizaru's on Lucci's side. But by the end of it, you know, you're like, everybody
does he
needs
need Kizaru? Like, does he have to be here?
Yeah, like we need people to put Lucci down because he, in one stroke of his hand, he single-handedly realized that this is top tier gameplay. This is Diamond Challenger level instinct. Like the moment the window is like Sentomaru got too close. He got way too close. He got too relaxed and took him out in that instant. And the reason why that's a problem is because now Lucci has the authority over the Seraphims. And that's a problem because
that's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, every time that we talked about like Vegapunk being that guy, CP0 having to roll up on Vegapunk, this is the exact thing we were wondering. We're like, wait, shouldn't Vegapunk have the authority over them? And yeah, that was proven as yes, but they added the really cool stipulation of it can't be through Denden Mushi. And then the people below it is Sentomaru, and the people with an authority chip, which is another like throwaway line, but very important. I feel like authority chip is really cool because that could apply to like
sword.
Or my brain always goes to what is that version of the Void Century? What did authority chips exist back then, and to what regard? Are the Gorosei under authority chips?
What if the Ancient Kingdom had authority chips on all the 20 kingdoms?
Something of that nature, right? And that's why I'm like, that's a very interesting inclusion, because you didn't need to have an authority chip. It could just be like, oh, these people have the command, just like how Sentomaru has the command. They're just lower, but we added an authority chip for some reason, right? Everybody else, do they have an authority chip? Like, does Sentomaru have a greater authority chip? No, that wasn't clarified, but they still gave us the authority chip for some reason. I'm like, I wonder why. I wonder why that's a thing here. And like, I'm also curious if like Vegapunk like program Dragon in there too, because a lot of people were thinking that
a hidden one like 2.5.
Yeah, something like that.
I like to imagine that the Gorosei are gonna show up like in person and be like, all right,
that's what some people have been saying. Yeah, no, a lot of people have been saying that they think one Gorosei,
it would be done. Like they wouldn't have to send CP0 or nothing. Like if the Gorosei walked over, sailed on a ship and said, kill Vegapunk, and then just sailed away, like literally did not have to be on this island, I mean, I think the job might have been done. Like, they can't do anything about that, right?
Well, I mean, the crew could stop the Seraphim.
Okay. Minus Luffy, right? Minus the Straw Hats being here, I feel like the Seraphim, like the 4 of them right here, could probably take down the 6 Vegapunks.
Yeah, like, and I'm also wondering, like, you know, Denden Mushi, we get the technicalities. What were a dial, bro? Like, I would have used a dial and like kill Vegapunk and then send it with Lucci and then give it. But like, you know, that's obviously
the Gorosei knows Sky Island exists, right? Like it's not crazy. Like Vegapunk made a Sky Island.
Yeah, and I think they included like. I'm on the side of Stussy saying that, so it's like not like the 5 elders can help. Like, I feel like that's just saying that the 5 elders won't show up, but then I do agree that does, like, we mentioned them, right? Like, also didn't.
They gotta fall in here somewhere. Like, this is the first showing that the Gorosei isn't incompetent, but like, are they gonna use this? So like, I feel like it has to be done. Like, by the end of the story,
they're a Kainu, bro. They're behind the desk.
By the end of the story, bro, Joe Biden. So at the end of the story, they have to come in and do something.
Yeah, they do. But like, and again, but regardless of the 5 elders part, I think this was probably my favorite part of the chapter. Maybe it's because I like playing games. Like, we play a lot of like, I got to pull out the strats yesterday with the Valorant game. Yeah, we were down like 10 rounds, and it was just like, oh, guys, let me pull it together here, and we commanded the army, our squad, to victory. Was it 4 games in a row? 4 games.
Yeah, 4 games in a row. We won Valorant. Easy.
Yeah, easy clap. Easy. And there was some good ass people on the other team too. On like at least 3 of the games.
I like how we're like piping up our Valorant stats now. Like
except for trash, but like, but
bronze.
I'm unranked still, but the point is like the way Lucci, like it just like awakened like the game. Like, he got the information, he got punched by the mole, like the mole pistol, and just instantly was like, this is the solution, and then just like took care of it. And that was like one of my favorite things that like makes Lucci such a cool character, in my opinion, because it's like so many times in a story. And I think that's his epithet. Not his epithet. Was it at the very end? It says ruthlessly efficient. I love efficiency. And that's why I love Lucci, because it's like,
he's great.
Too many times you get in a story where it's like, you get this information and then you, like, most people are like, so A, B, C, but they make the B, C part so complicated that doesn't happen. But Lucci is that guy who's like, no, it's that easy, guys. Just take out Sentomaru. We're on top now. And they are, to the point where it's like, we are thinking Kizaru has to be on the enemy team, right? Like, or on Luffy's team, right? Like, that's how crazy of a move that was. In one hand movement, he made it like both of us go like, yeah, they need an admiral on their side. Like, that's how wild need that somebody was.
And the funny thing is that when I think about Luffy and Lucci fighting, how do you think the fight's going to continue? Do you think Lucci gangs up on Luffy, or do you think it will continue in a 1v1?
I think a 1v1 makes sense, but something like truthfully got lost in the chapter was like Zoro and Sanji can come down, right? Like the crew can come down and help Luffy. I think that makes a lot more sense. But the other issue here is because of this, and this is why this part is my favorite part of the chapter too, is it made the progression of this fight so much more interesting, because their CP0's purpose is to kill Vegapunk. There's 6 of them. Now, a lot of, like, I think I don't know about you, like, I was contemplating, okay, maybe they just destroy Punk Records and that's what they meant by killing Vegapunk. But now, because of this insertion here where they take out Sentomaru, in order to turn the tides of the fight, one of the Vegapunks have to go down because they can't
take the blow, dude.
Yeah,
it's
so
it's like Valorant. You're sending the bottom fragger out to get information. You know they're gonna die, but you know what? You get it. You get the job done.
Exactly. And
I don't know. Like I feel like the best solution, because I feel like Lucci is so out for revenge that he wants this fight to continue 1v1.
You think so? You think he's revenge here? Or you think he's just fighting because Luffy's fighting him?
I think a little bit of both. I think it's Luffy is triggering him, but I also think it is like a little bit of revenge. Like it's definitely both. Like I feel like it's gonna be a whole thing of like, okay, he beat me once, it's not gonna happen again. I got stronger, like I'll show you what's up. And even like back then, Lucci was a very much like he was a 1v1 opponent. Like, he never wanted to 2v1 or gang up on anybody. So I feel like he's going to continue that here. And now that the Seraphim are loose, what I think would be pretty cool is if the Straw Hats all teamed up with a certain Vegapunk and fended off the Seraphim. But I mean, again, that wouldn't make sense because, like, what? Vegapunk could just say, hey, stop fighting, right? Like, they'd have to do something down here to where Vegapunk would have to come out. It wouldn't make sense if the Seraphim went to Vegapunk just to only get converted back.
I think the Seraphims are like the CP0 will handle the mission, right? And the point of the command thing was like they take out Sentomaru, so Vegapunk has to come to them.
Yeah.
If Vegapunk doesn't come to them, then CP0 will go to them. But that's the issue where it's like if you send the Straw Hats down, maybe you handle the situation, right? Like that's the thing, right? Where it's like I think right now, with the Seraphims on Lucci's side, the Straw Hats lose, right? Like with the Seraphims, because we saw the Vegapunks aren't combatants from our understanding. I don't think it makes sense to think that they are. So if the Seraphims are on Lucci's side, all the Straw Hats combined, that's a tough fight, I think, considering it's Mihawk, Jinbei, Boa, and Kuma. That's some sauce. Yeah, and Kaku.
Don't forget Kaku, the potential awakened giraffe, and then Stussy, which has information on an egghead.
Yeah, like Chopper,
kind of
Frankie,
now.
Brook. Chopper, Frankie, Brook. Like, that's like one Seraphim maybe? Like, right? Chopper, Frankie, Brook is like one Seraphim probably?
Yeah, I'd say
but
so.
But like, which one? I feel like Mihawk would still beat them, right? Like, I don't know.
We gotta put him against the Jinbei one.
You think the Jinbei one or the Boa? But then even it's Boa, right? Like,
yeah, they're too strong, bro.
And then like Nami,
I think this is
Robin.
A perfect time though. Like this is a perfect time to finally see how strong these Seraphims actually are.
True,
but even then, I can't imagine we would kill them though.
Yeah, I don't think that they're and that's where I think like the Vegapunk comes down. I think what it is that some Straw Hats go down with Shaka, and it'll probably be like Zoro. Or like Zoro, Sanji, not Robin. It would make absolutely zero sense for Robin to go. Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei's down there, but he's leaving. Like, oh man, it's so weird.
Now that this is happening, I think the chances of CP0 walking away from this island with Caribou are pretty plausible.
Where did that? Why is Caribou?
I just thought about it because I'm just like, okay, like I feel like Oda's like putting so many big details on our face that a small detail is gonna get overlooked, and I'm like, yo, Caribou's still here. Like, could he change the tides? Probably not. Or maybe like he will use his Swamp Devil Fruit and put the Vegapunks inside of him, and that's how they get away.
That's like, what's cool is like there's so much creativity still at play here, and but you know, like last time we were talking about how the series isn't going to go straight forward, or at least that's what I was saying based on the circumstance last time, and I feel like that's still true, But we did go a straightforward route, where the straightforward route was to make Lucci strong enough to just handle Luffy. And so Oda gave him the Awakened Zone. And it's like, the reason why that wasn't straightforward at the time was because it didn't seem like Awakened Zone was an accessible thing. Like, to the point where Conquerors was more of an accessible power-up to give to Lucci. Because a regular generic cat leopard awakening being equal to a mythical one, right? Like, it was weird to think about, but like when you synthesize it, it's like, yeah, no, I like that, because then it's like Luffy isn't just stupid strong above everybody else. He has to fight everyone, right? And in that regard, like, I don't know if awakening Lucci made this more straightforward for the story. I think it made it more complicated, right? Because
I feel like it's straightforward.
You think so? Then straightforward, where do we like? We both, you literally like Caribou is an overlooked thing, and then that becomes like a plot point too, right? Like, not that doesn't make it straightforward, but I mean like Kizaru joining on the Vegapunk side, is that considered straightforward to you?
No. Like, the only reason I think Lucci is straightforward to me is because, like, in terms of like abilities and powers, I feel like it's pretty straightforward. As far as what characters are gonna do in like the grand scheme of the plot, that's like super wishy-washy. Yeah, Oda can get really silly. Like, it could be a gag. It could be like something that has been built up forever, foreshadowing, like Blackbeard with, oh, a man's dreams or desires will never end, and then we got Devil Fruits like coming back and forth because of that. So I feel like as far as plot goes, like, that is something that isn't straightforward. As far as Lucci just being awakened and, you know, being super strong, yeah, I'll take it on the chin, whatever. Like, Kaido, like, he's the king of peace, but we're not like asking like, oh, how did he get strong? Like, he was on the rocks pirates, but like, yeah, like, what about after that? Like, what did he do after that? Like, nobody's asking that.
Yeah.
Like, Big Mom, like, oh, she's big, you know, she's crazy, she's strong, but like after rocks, like, why is she so strong though? Like, how did this happen? We just accept the fact that, oh, you know, she's been training, she's a Yonko, whatever. Lucci, he's with CP0, he's been training, he has a grudge match against Luffy, it's whatever. Like, we just kind of have to accept that some characters are just always going to be innately strong. Like, even Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji, we don't have their backstory. We don't know, like, who they fought. Yeah. Like, no, what figures did they take down? Like, they're just powerful.
Now that we got him awakening, that's perfectly fine. I think it's cool. I'm interested to see how the community takes it, because I feel like it's like a whiplash. I have no... truthfully, I like staying in my bubble where I'm just like making my videos and then I hop on call with you.
With the spoilers, bro. With the spoilers, like, I don't... Maybe everybody's the wrong way to put it, but I think a majority of
the early crowd?
A majority do not like that Lucci's this powerful. And now people are kind of like extending it towards like Kaido slander. Some people are saying, yo, like, no, Luffy, he's like, they're coping that like he's not trying, like his back ain't in this one, like... Oh, if Luffy wanted to, like, one shot, it would be over. But, like, dude, like, the story is in Oda's hands. And next chapter, he could literally write it to where Lucci would win. And then, like, what would we even say at that point, right?
Yeah,
like if he wrote Lucci to be this strong, like, who knows where his ceiling is? No named attacks have been used this chapter by him. Like, on Luffy, at least. Like, no attack of his has been landed on Lucci thus far. Luffy only landed one attack on him, and he was A-okay. Like, that's just how it is. Like, next chapter, it will be very telling. And I just want to wait to see what happens.
The other thing about it, too, is, like, it's not like Luffy can pull out Bajran Gun here, right? Like, he can't just destroy the island. There are limitations. Like, versus Onigashima, he had to move Onigashima, or that was, like, the understanding. But then, you know, it moved, he punched him. But, like, if Luffy used Bajran Gun, that would destroy more than what he would want to. So, Luffy does have a handicap here. And something that I would... like is that, like, you know, we can't gauge how difficult this is for Luffy because of his power, but like Lucci has always been the more regimented character, right? Like the character who trains, the character who has like who's very meticulous with what he does and how he does it, and the skill and all that stuff. And sure, Luffy did beat him, but like, is this a scenario where we find, like, we see, like, hey, Luffy is not trained with this ability. He has no idea, like, what he's doing, right? He doesn't even know what he is. So maybe that's why he loses against Lucci here. I could see that. I could definitely see that. My thing about the awakening part is less so about like whether people like it or not. It's more so like if you to compare this, if you added just like Conquerors to it, like it wouldn't have changed the story as much as this feels like it does, if that makes sense. Like you add Conquerors, a lot of people would say the same thing. It's an ass pull. It doesn't make sense. He's way too strong. Conqueror's coin doesn't make sense. 2 years, blah, 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 all that stuff. But now that we have that Awakening of Zoans, right, and that this is one, like now, like, you know, like I was saying that there would be more mythical Zoans. And like Robin could be a mythical zone, but now there's so many levels to it where it's like, no, if a regular zone could be this strong, then why does everything need to be a mythical? You can get ancients, you can get like, I don't know, legendaries, maybe throw out random ones. Like, I think it opens the world a lot more, and then on top of that, within Egghead, it changed the dynamic. I think both of us from last episode to this episode, we have a completely different outlook. Like, it's like you took a chessboard. It's like we took a chessboard and we both put the pieces. We agreed, that piece, you know, you say there, I say there.
Here, there.
And then 1069 was just like, threw the board up in the air and we caught it, and then the pieces are just all over the place.
Yeah, and then as we're holding the board, the big daddy from BioShock is standing on the other side, and he just actually kicks us in the chest. We hit the wall and we splatter into 1,000 pieces.
Okay.
Like, that's essentially how it goes. And here's the thing, though. It's not a bad thing either. Like, I feel like a lot of people...
No, I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Like, people look at this chapter and they're like, yo, like, this is trash. Like, I can't believe this. But, like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's because I'm easygoing, but I'm just enjoying the story, bro. Like, this is cool. Like, as a Rob Lucci fan, like, I'm living my best life right now. Like, this chapter might be the best chapter in the past, like, probably 20. Like, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, since we're, you know, obviously done talking about the chapter stuff, I feel like the more I'm in the community, I feel like I realize how weird I am in that sense, where it's like, people, I don't know, like, people, and this is no offense, I feel like I'm the odd one out, where it's like I'm not offended by like what happens in the story. I feel like people get offended, personally offended. Like Lucci gets hurt, and it's like, oh no, and then if Lucci does great, it's like, that's offensive. You know what I mean? And then for me, I'm just like wow, this is cool. And like, you know what I mean?
Like even
like, why?
Me, like, I have my takes. Like, I have an Admiral agenda. I love Lucci. I love CP0, whatever. But if they take an L, I'm not like, you know, hiding in my closet crying for a day. It's like, no, dude, it's whatever. Like, it's a story. It's chill.
Yeah.
If Lucci gets a W, oh, dude, freaking dope. If he loses next chapter, you know, what can we do? Like,
yeah, for me, I'm always
we're
asking,
just kind of
like,
following it, bro. That's all it is.
I feel like that's half of what my channel's about, though, because like I feel like a lot of people, for example, the recent few videos were like the Big Mom amnesia one, right? Like why Onis weren't explained and why she had amnesia, and that spawned out of like, hey, this is something that is weird in the story, and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, maybe let's ask the question why. And then I answer that question why. And then the same thing with Kaido's awakened. Why wasn't he awakened? Well, I have the Lurking Legends video for that. It's like, well, and I explained it earlier in the video, so I'm not going to explain it again. But it's just like, I feel like if what I do is also harder because you ask why, and then you look into the story to try and find the answer. But I feel like what you do also is just like, I mean, this thing happened. Okay, it happened. Am I looking forward to the rest of the story? And I feel like if you ask that question and you look at this scenario with Lucci and Luffy, I feel like anything moving, and Kizaru's coming here, and we didn't even talk about Kuma, like where a lot of people don't even think Kuma's coming here, but like Kuma's coming.
He's gotta come now, bro. We need Kuma, man.
Like, and then we're having the Marines show up, and this is without Sword. Like, Sword is
Sword
supposed
ain't
to
even here yet, bro.
And then like if Kuma's on his way, are the Revs coming? Like, that is a possibility.
Dude, you know what? And Goro saying competent, Revs incompetent. All I gotta say.
Fine, but then on top of that, it's like if Blackbeard has been everywhere in the last few chapters, why wouldn't the rest of his crew be here? We have a missing two Shiryu and Lafitte, the two most pivotal characters in my opinion on the crew, because Lafitte is the reason why Blackbeard became a warlord. Yeah, he opened the gates. He
tap dance,
and he what's it called? He got past Mihawk, Doflamingo, Kuma, all of their observation
Sengoku,
haki in a
Tsuru.
meeting with Sengoku and Tsuru. And then on top of that, we have Shiryu, one of the impelled down wardens, who is like supposed to be Zoro's opponent with the invisible fruit. Like there's like they could show up too. And I feel like when I'm thinking about this, I said this as right after reading the chapter. And this was not to slander Wano. What I was saying was that somehow in 9 chapters, Oda has created like the amount of hype and excitement that like I felt like going into Onigashima or going into Wano.
Hey, don't say that too loud, Par. They have ears and feelings. Some people might be offended by that.
They do. I mean,
there was one person who was offended by that. I remember that.
Wait, really? In my chat?
Yeah, in your chat, we were during the live stream, and I was like, dude, like we were just talking about how hype this is comparative to like, you know, Onigashima and Wano. And they're like, oh, like, long arc bad, short arc good. Oh, One Piece is too fast, One Piece is too slow. Classic One Piece YouTubers. And it's like, I was like, stuff went in your ass, dude. Like, come on.
I didn't even see
like,
that. But
no, it was so funny. I didn't want to like talk about it because I would kind of just roast them, but it's like, no, like, that's not the problem. Like, sure, Wano was long, but Oda wanted to build up the emotions. He wanted to build up the hype. Egghead, yeah, it's fast paced, but dude, we're already at the emotions. Like we had Bonnie, we had Sentomaru kicking the bucket after coming out of poverty, bro. He rose up, and then now we're already in a giant fight. Like this is pretty peak. Like One Piece has never like fallen off. Like it's always been good. Like the pacing isn't an issue.
When I say, or when people say like, oh, this is hype in compared to this, that doesn't mean that this was worse. It doesn't mean this Wano's is that bad. Crazy, right? Like the points that I was making was like 9 chapters. Like it's 9 chapters. Like I can't remember. Like I mean, this is now 1 year past of being a manga weekly reader, but like 9 chapters, I don't remember like a jam-packed moment of a story where I was like, this spread, right? Like, because we went Void Century, we went like Lucci's coming here, Devil Fruits,
Seraphim, Sentomaru, Kizaru Sword,
Vegapunk,
6 of them,
air conditioning,
dude,
giant shark
The zoo crisis,
stronger is rocks. Like that was in this
Blackbeard
too.
versus Law, dude. Like you cannot tell me Egghead is not a goated arc. Like in 9 chapters, it has completed so much, and even just hearing you say that it's 9 chapters, like
it's ridiculous.
Like mind-boggling.
Yeah, like and on top of that, like we're going into the break weeks, going into the end of the year.
Dude, Oda knows what he's doing. That slimy guy, dude. Oda literally said that slimy Japanese man. Oh, no. Let me tell you right now, he said, "I'm gonna bring in everybody into Egghead Island. I'm gonna make Rob Lucci awaken. I'm gonna make him, comparative to Gear 5th Luffy." Yeah. And I'm just gonna drop the mic, and I'm gonna go on vacation with my family for a week, bro. That is what Oda said. Like, if you're one of those people who's like in the comments, like, oh, like I can't believe One Piece is like this. Just know that Oda's chilling right now. Like Oda's like having it up with his family. He's memeing it up. Like he's like the boys are gonna love this one. He knows what he's doing. Like he plans this out.
That's what's kind of cool, right? Like the pacing feels quick, and like somehow I feel like if I asked you the question, like how long have we been in Egghead? I feel like the right answer is 6 months. I feel like that's the right answer, but that's the wrong answer. That's absolutely the wrong answer.
It feels like we've been here for a little bit.
Yeah, but like that's because we got so much information, so much stuff, and so much action, so many questions, so many discussions. Even the break weeks feel longer. Not the break weeks feel like it's like a dichotomy where it's like the break weeks feel long because I don't talk to you and I don't talk to like people, but like it also feels too short because the conversations that are being created right now are so long, and there's so many. Even last chapter, I feel like we still haven't talked about everything from that chapter, and we got hit with this chapter, and this chapter probably has more things. Yeah, more things to talk about then, and then we're going to a break week now.
Here's something funny. I mean, I just noticed it. Obviously, it's always been there. Dude, Sentomaru has, like, the Sharingan on his chest.
Oh, that's the Tomoe.
Yeah, the Tomoe that even Anel has.
Yeah,
and since some people are comparing, like, Enel to Egghead and like some correlations you might have. I wonder if that's like, hey, I sound ludicrous, but I'm just saying, could be something. But anyways,
everything that we want to add, we're not adding Enel to this, please.
Enel, let me tell you about our God and Savior Eneru. But here's the thing though. One last detail I do want to touch on before we like start wrapping up a little bit.
Yeah.
Is the Kuma Seraphim portion. We see him shooting laser beams at CP0. And something interesting that we see is we actually get to see his paws for once.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually see his paws. But we also see a laser beam coming out of that paw. Or at least we're supposed to assume that based off of the star that comes out of that left hand. So is the Kizaru laser coming out of the paw that has the paw fruit?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't realize how
that
weird
is such a
panel
strange detail. And I was just like, yo, like, what is going on in this panel? Like it can't be the other hand because of the way, like, the trajectory of, like, the light swoosh. So it has to be the left hand, but it has the paw, which is confirmation that Vegapunk can replicate devil fruits.
Yeah, and have robots eat them.
Even when Kuma, the OG Kuma, had the laser beams, he didn't use the laser beams out of his paw. It was only out of his mouth. So it's like, what's going on here?
Which I'm glad is gone. The mouth lasers was just
they were what do you mean? I loved them.
They were cool, but like not always. You know what I mean?
Okay, you're dissing the mouth. Okay, you know what, dude? I can't believe you're dissing the mouth lasers.
No. It's not the mouth lasers the problem. It's the novelty of the mouth laser. It's the efficiency of it. Because if you have a laser coming out of your mouth, you can't do much, right? Because if you move your head, the laser's moving with you. Whereas your hand, you could like take care of everything you need to do. But if it's in your mouth, you can't do much.
If you have the paw fruit, 2 shockwaves, mouth cannon, like, come on. Like, that is OP. Okay, how about you? If I could offer you to have mouth cannon Kizaru laser beams, would you take it?
I mean, like, if there's... Like, am I the only one you're offering it to?
Yeah.
I mean, in our world, yeah. Like, why not?
Exactly.
You know?
Like, why?
This is
why would the pacifista turn it down?
I'm not. The pacifist didn't have to turn it down. Vegapunk just needed to make a better design. What do you mean? Like elbows, even nipple lights, bro.
Okay, but
even Frankie's nipple lights are better. Like,
you know what?
Than the mouth lasers.
Let's agree on this. What about Kuma? The Kuma Seraphim potentially rolling back his entire sleeve, and there's nothing but holes around his arm, like Danzo from Naruto with Sharingans, and it just shoots out lasers. Like, he just points it, and it's like boom, like every direction.
I'm okay with that. That's fine. That's cool. He can even detach the arm, and it continues to shoot off beams like a sea urchin.
But
that's
what's
cool.
the harm in a mouth beam? What do you have against mouths, bro?
It's just dated, okay? It was cool 10 years ago. It's not anymore, okay?
You know
and I think Oda in my basement clearly understands that,
know what?
right?
I'm gonna go to the extreme. I hope Bonnie gets killed by a mouth beam.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding, nah. Dude, imagine that, though. Like, just out of nowhere, like, Kuma shows up, and then she's like, Dad, and then he's like, mouth beam. Mouth beam.
That's too much.
Yeah, that'd be so sad.
Daddy! Lasers.
Just a mouth.
Yo, we need
but
to
no,
write
like,
that
what if he
fanfic.
tries to say "I love you," but it just comes out as a mouth beam instead?
Yo, we need, like, if anyone in the chat is skilled at making like manga panels for like this, like, please get in contact with us. Me and Sai will write one for every chapter of
Just
like this
mouth.
bullshit.
Yeah, just 2-3 panels, just a meme. Just like this one could be like mouth beam Kuma shooting down Bonnie. And you could Photoshop it too. You could, like, when Zoro gets shot by the Kuma beam, you could put Bonnie's face on there, and then just put like Kuma, a mouth beam from Kuma on the other side. Like, it could be dope.
Yeah, kind of like how when shout outs to the brown guys in this chapter. It's like, look at those brown guys.
Oh yeah, Jimbei says, "Hey, what's with those brown fellows?"
And then I've had someone in my chat Photoshop it to me and Morge as the Seraphims. I tweeted it. Oh god,
I thought those brown guys looked like One Piece YouTubers.
That was too good. But something that you said about Anel coming back here, I was thinking about it.
Why are you bringing back
wait.
Anel?
Well, no. Now I think Anel can show. I think Anel can show up.
Because, oh my gosh! Just throwing all the characters in this arc.
No. Because we got the explanation of devil fruits, and it's like the power. Like that means Anel's the person who made Anel's fruit desired to be the infinite energy source that like was probably necessary. It could be that like, you know, the meme that people made of after Gear 5 was shown and then Luffy grabs lightning and then like people memed it with Anel and like that might not be too off of like Anel might be like one of like Joy Boy's like, you know, pet essentially, right? Like Joy Boy bent infinite energy in Anel and that was the energy source. Like that
I hope Anel comes back. Like, him coming back and saying, yes, I've returned from the endless verth. I went to the moon, and now I have these little people with me. Like, how would... Like, Oda would have so much to go through. Like, I don't know. Like, we'd probably get, like, a whole, like, chapter based on Anel lore at that point.
Like, Anel... I don't know. I feel like Anel has to come back. Like, now that we got Lucci, we got Crocodile, like, Anel's gonna come back. Like, I feel strongly about that. And we already have a feeling that Moria is gonna come back to some extent, right? Whether it's just his fruit or it's him. Like, then we have more... Who else is there besides that? I mean, Wapol. I mean, we know Wapol's coming back somehow,
Foxy.
right?
And he's already kind of back.
Foxy? Oh, Foxy cannot come back. But it's like, it's fine if he doesn't come back, but it's like, he can come. And I think that's I think that's an anime shonen thing too, where it's like bring back all the old characters for a last hoorah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's why I feel like earlier in this video, I mentioned that if there was like a final war, like we'd see so many random people like that we haven't seen in so long. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Luffy or somebody's being executed, Luffy, the world government are going to a war, and then all of a sudden Gaimon appears, right? Like I wouldn't be shocked. Like, if Gaimon appears with, like, that blonde girl in a chest, too, like, we'd be like, oh, yeah, cool. Syrup Village, yeah, here's a, you know, carrot, pepper, and onion. Like, they're coming in the fold. Like, we shouldn't be super surprised. Like, maybe Usopp dies, and then all of a sudden, here comes Kaya with, like, a magical medicine to cure him because she became a doctor. Like, there's so many people that will come back, and I feel like that's because it's a shonen.
And what's funny about that, too, is, like, one last thing is, like, I forget where, but like I was in a environment, don't know where people didn't know who Gaimon was. Like actually,
really,
like, they didn't know what he looked like. Yeah, like they knew. Then when he said the island, it's like, oh, the guy in the treasure thing, right? And I was like, huh, that's so interesting. That like, it was like on a Twitch stream from like a. Someone from the Comic-Con or something, or Anime NYC. Like I saw their Twitch streaming and they had like an audience there, like 40, 50 people. They didn't know who Gaimon was. I was like, wait, that's crazy.
Do you even know One Piece?
And that's the thing where it's like,
you didn't know who Tajit was.
I knew who he was, but I just missed the name versus like not knowing what Gaimon, what part of the story, what he did, what he said, what he talked about. That's different, right? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's fair to like, you know, some people to forget, especially the viewers, right? Like, cause that's one thing that is like, not that's part of like being a One Piece YouTuber job, but I feel like because we read the story as much as we do and we analyze and we talk about it, we tend to remember more than a typical viewer would. And that's where the crazy thing is. Like, I feel like by the end of One Piece, it's like there's like no such thing as a casual viewer. Like, I feel like that's just like a casual, usually in a series, casual is the the majority. And like, you know, like Game of Thrones, even by the 8th season, people probably forgot people from season 1, season 2. You'd have to be like an analytical viewer or a stan or something to like really, really know. But in One Piece, I feel like it's more common that like you bring up Tajit or something, and then 50% of people
stands stand up.
Yeah, exactly. Or Yamakaji at that point, right? Like, there's like so many random characters, random to that point, where Yamakaji like, was not actually shown in anything that you said he was when we got on this call the other time.
All right, all I gotta say, Yamakaji stock's looking pretty good after this chapter. Par just doesn't like Marines. He doesn't like Authority.
Whoa,
let me tell you
I like Marines.
When I think of Authority, I think of Domino from Impel Down, and let me tell you, put me in jail.
All right.
Put me back in jail.
Lucci, this is the question.
What's up?
Lucci versus Akainu.
So this is the end of this video, guys. Sai, do you want to, shout yourself out one more time?
Yeah, so, clearly, if you guys watch the whole video, you understand that I have the best takes of all of the community. I'm also the best place to go to the spoilers, except for this last week. But that's also not my fault, because I am faultless, because I am a Marine fanboy.
Hey, Yamakaji can do no wrong. Domino can do no wrong. Keep that in mind. If you diss Marines, you're dissing Domino. You're dissing Sadie. You're dissing Hina. You're dissing Tashigi. You're dissing Doll.
You're saying it like your viewers
Hibari.
care.
You're dissing so many people. Oh, it's Sue, old lady. You dissing her? Don't do that. That's your grandma.
I feel like your viewers are the type to be like, Sai, we don't care.
Yeah, no, dude. A majority of people who watch me, they're all like about the pirates. But I'm like, yo, let me tell you right now, the Marines, pretty solid. Lilith, contracted by the government. You're contracted by the government.
Not anymore.
They were. If they just went to bed like nothing happened, if they just pretend like nothing happened, I'm sure Lucci would have made it painless. All I gotta say.
And so with that, guys, Par, do you want to have? Do you have anything to say before we close?
Yes,
out this video?
I am a One Piece theorist. You might know me from Grand Line Review. I collabed with him, and we have the Mihawk as a sword video. We're also really good friends nowadays, and I have a couple of other videos in the pipeline. If I had to make one recommendation to my Parvision viewers, the Parvisionaries as I call them, I would say to please become a channel member, because I have so many audio clips of theories before I post them to regular public subscribers that you could check out beforehand, and they are really cool, really insightful, and I kind of view my own videos as a journey. It's like Game of Thrones, and every theory tends to connect to one another. So watch season 1, watch season 2, watch season 3. Maybe skip season 8 because I kind of fell off right there. But season 7, 6, and 5, all good. So please check me out at youtube.com/@Parvision. Do you have that? Parvision Dash, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I couldn't get it, right? Like, YouTube said I'm a nobody, just like BDA Law.
It's because
BDA Law also doesn't have his @handle because he's also a
oh,
nobody.
We're calling Brago
Rest in peace. Bro, Brago! So if you guys don't know, some funny lore. Brago doesn't have @BDA or @BDA Law. He has @BDA Law Official because somebody stole both of those. That is hilarious. And one of them is like, it's a different language. It's like a really bad like movie music video channel.
That's me too. Me and Brago are in the same boat.
That is hilarious.
No, it's not. Mine doesn't even make. Wait, does Brago's one
so
at least
funny.
post? Do they still post?
Yeah, they still post.
Mine doesn't. They've been inactive for 5 years, and Google still somehow prioritizes them. That doesn't even make sense.
BDA, I think, has like maybe 9,000 subs, and they post like every couple of days. BDA Law hasn't posted in like years, bro. Like, how did they get that over the BDA Law? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, 300.
That's hilarious, though.
1,000 or no, Brago's closing on 400.
Yeah, he's closing on 400K. Yeah.
That's disrespectful. Dude,
that is hilarious. If you know a YouTuber that doesn't have an @handle that is actually their username, meme on them, please. That is good, high quality content.
And if some of you guys are connected to YouTube, which some of you guys, we might be surprised, and you guys know how to, address a situation where my handle was taken by an account that's been inactive for 5 years and doesn't even pass partnership things. And I'm imagining
YouTube.
I did, and they're just like,
say?
we can't. They said that, sorry, we can't do anything about it. I was like, what do you mean they're inactive?
Hilarious. I hope you never get it, bro. That's so funny. Like, it'll just be an ongoing meme.
Oh god,
That's so good.
Mark my words. They don't call us the Visionary Pirates for nothing.
Yeah, you're gonna take down YouTube headquarters. You're gonna go there with like 10 people.
All I'm saying is
The Visionaries.
How's it go? If
the shoe fits.
No. If you see me in a fight with a bear, help the bear.
Yeah, believe it or not, they also call Par back in my hometown. They call him the Merchant of Death.
Oh my god.
But Par is a maniac.
We're gonna get random viewers watching this video because you said that so many times. Like, they're gonna listen for Brittany.
Oh, hey, boy! Oh, we can't say the name.
We can't say the name. We can't say that name.
Can't say the name.
The comments are just gonna be the name.
No, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't want to talk about like real world politics or news.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I mentioned Joe Biden a lot, but let me just say it right here. He's such a good meme. Like, he's kind of slow. He does, dude. If the live action ever made it to Kizaru, let me tell you right now, I got a key actor for it. Yo, Joe Biden, after you're done with presidency, let me tell you right now, there's a job lined up for you, buddy.
I'm not gonna lie, you're not wrong. But
who else would play Joe Biden, right? Like, who else is gonna play Kizaru? It has to be Joe Biden.
There's not that many like slow talkers in that regard, but then it's supposed to be like jumbled up a little bit. But like, I was thinking like Obama would work, but like it's way too what's it called?
He's too good. He's too good.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta like add a little ganja to it too, you know.
Like, if I thought about like a live action character for Brooke, it'd probably be like Pete Davidson. He's got like that skeletal figure going on, and he's kind of a jokester, right? Like, I mean,
I was just gonna say he's a guy. IRL who could actually go and say, "Can I see your panties?" and then be fine. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no. He actually says that, bro. Like that is Pete Davidson on the regular.
Exactly. That's like, when you said that, I was like, wait a second, that would fit, because like, you know, Brooke is still a likable character despite that, and Pete Davidson is obviously, you know, 2022 MVP.
Too likable, bro. Too likable.
MVP, bro.
If you guys don't know who Pete Davidson is, I think he's a pretty good comedian. Some of his things are a little bit forced, but overall, pretty good comedian. And there's a running meme that he pulls like the baddest girls of Hollywood.
No,
like,
of
he was
the
with
planet,
the planet, bro. Like, so if you're like me or like, you know, Par, like you guys are like a little bit lackluster, bro. Let me tell you right now, Pete Davidson is like your hero. Like if we were fishermen, Pete Davidson is like fish or tiger, right? Like, he is showing us that anything can be done. Bro, this dude's the warrior of liberation. He's showing that as long as you're funny, you can do anything you want. He is the sun god Nika of the world, bro. Like, that is crazy.
To be fair, there's rumors that he is well endowed, but I think you are right, because
he's funny. It's like a sun god Nika power up. He stretched
to open the doors.
Yeah,
the multiple doors it takes to get to the bedroom.
He activated the Molt pistol, bro. Like, he went underground for this.
Yo, I mean, it's true. I mean, he is. I think it's undeniable that he is the MVP of 2022. Like, he's crazy. I haven't heard of an L, because like the most recent one was, I was like on the rate. Like, I can't escape this man. Like, if you're not getting Twitter notifications of all the people, I was on the radio. Emily Ratajkowski. I was like, no, stop. Dude, that doesn't make sense.
Out of nowhere. Like it's so bad where people are memeing like their favorite celebrities with like Pete Davidson, like, oh, Jenna Ortega's dating Pete Davidson.
Oh god.
This person's dating Pete Davidson.
When they said, like, you know, back in the day, Hydra,
and I don't even know if I can believe it or not anymore. Like, it's too crazy now. Like, the memes spread too far.
When they said Hydra kids, Hydra wife, Hydra mom, like all that shit. Remember that meme?
I remember that.
It's Pete Davidson.
Yeah, it's actually just Pete Davidson, bro. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Oh no!
Like, I mean, it just shows you like Oda's power scaling works in the real world. Like, if you could bring laughter and joy to people, You're just gonna be
Yeah.
OP.
Yeah.
You're gonna be OP.
This is true. This is
It's true. It's true, bro.
Speaking
what's
from
funny?
experience.
We didn't even talk about Sentomaru getting like one shot, dude. Like we kind of did, but like, do you think Sentomaru's down for the count?
I don't think so. I don't think he's down for the count. I mean, we did talk about it a little bit, but like it's too hard to say because he's like an unknown variable, right? But Sentomaru, I feel like we were talking about earlier, the Bonnie situation, the connection. I think that's still possible. Like I feel like Sentomaru going down makes the Straw Hats want to go back and save him a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
I think. Oh, go for it.
no, it's another one of those things where it's like given the current situation, like I feel like Sentomaru is going to be there but not capable of helping at all.
Yeah.
He's going to be a handicap essentially, like someone to save.
I think one good thing about saving Sentomaru would be, like you said, the relationship between Bonnie. I think Sentomaru could clarify some things about Kuma even. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, Bonnie, like your dad really loved you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he did this, but he did it for you. He did it for the betterment of humanity. Like, maybe Bonnie, like maybe Vegapunk tells Bonnie what happened with Kuma. And then Bonnie's like, no, you're a liar. You used my father, whatever. And then Sentomaru was like, no, Bonnie. Like, you know, like dying, blood out of the mouth, like hole through the chest. Like, your dad was actually, no, he consented. He gave his consent. Like, you know, everything's good here, Bonnie. Listen to my words.
Or even crazier is like, you know, Sentomaru's body's weird. Maybe it's similar to Kuma. Maybe he goes like, Kuma gave up his life to save mine.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so thankful for all of his muscles that I was like.
You know, I was living in poverty. Kuma gave me $5 in the cup, and that brought me to another day. Dude, Vegapunk guilt tripped Sentomaru hard.
Yeah,
he said, "Never mind me, Sentomaru. I only took you in when you were starving. Please, do you know what? Forget it. You know, forget I said anything. Do whatever you think is right, bro.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, like, that's Vegapunk is not a nice dude.
I would get peeved if he said that. I mean, even Sentomaru was like, "Yo, twist my arm, why don't you? Like, come on, like you had to bring this up."
What that does say though is Vegapunk is definitely an Asian parent. Oh, I was gonna say an Asian parent because that's some Asian parent type of shit where they're like, I drove you to school, and it's like I didn't want to go to school. You know what I mean? And it's like they just pull the random shits like over you in the most like oh, I don't want to go to the grocery store or something like that. And like, well, who changed your diapers? And it's like random bullshit like that.
So one thing to me that this proves is that Vegapunk, maybe it's not fair to say this yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if Vegapunk was somewhat of a coward. Like imagine, okay, so he said this to Sentomaru, right? You know, whatever, we can take it how it is. It could be a gag, it could be nothing. But what if next chapter we see like CP0 like going ham, the Seraphim are going crazy, and then Vegapunk is like, Edison, go sacrifice yourself. Like, we need you to go. Like, the real Vegapunk saying this. Mm-hmm. Like, how would you feel? Like, because he's like, hey, like, I gotta protect myself. You're expendable. You go.
I think, like, I don't know if that's necessarily, like, something that he needs to say out loud, if that makes sense. I feel like that's just gonna be Shaka's... Shaka's gonna take the directive there, and then he's pretty much gonna do it, right? Like, I don't think the real Vegapunk is going to be put in a situation where he needs to diminish his character, or Oda wouldn't need to do that necessarily. I feel like it'd be interesting if Oda chose to go there, but I don't think it's necessary given Shaka's position. He's been commanding everybody. He seems like he would make the logical choice that's self-sacrificial in the first place. And he has been protective of the like Atlas, for example. But what's interesting is, did we see like a visceral reaction from the like when they saw Atlas down? It wasn't like they weren't like like nobody really like said anything, did they?
Yeah, none of the Vegapunks really said anything at all.
Yeah, so it might not even be that like, I mean, there was like the issue earlier where there was like, oh no, that's not a huge thing. Like Alice had the wrong number. That was probably like a typo or something. But I was going to say that there was that theory originally that like, I think Atlas was set to be number 5, but then came up with number 6. So then people, before we got it revealed, were saying that like maybe, the number 5 or number 6 got destroyed and she got transferred over into a different body, and that might not be her body. And I thought that was interesting because, like, yeah, like if Atlas dies and they don't care, that kind of makes it feel like they are expendable, not that they would be lost, but more so that they would be retrievable in a different capacity, maybe, right?
It was confirmed to be a mistranslation.
Right, yeah.
But
going back to, like,
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they can just, like, be rebuilt or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know Lilith and York's situation because they're the most human looking, like, where they might not even be cyborgs, maybe. We don't really know. But, and then Shaka could be in that boat as well, but even then, it still feels like Shaka would take that route of being like, yeah, if we lose him, we lose everything. And that's the logical take. And so we need to expend ourselves in the order of importance, and the order of importance might be the numbers, right? Is Alice number 6, right? Or is York number 6?
I think York is number 6.
Okay, so then like York is actually really important, so they can't lose her because then they'll be losing the shitting and the eating and the sleeping, right? So maybe it starts with Pythagoras and then goes to Edison, then I don't know. Maybe that's why the girls are at the end. Maybe we do sacrifice Edison and Pythagoras because they're just robots, and then Lilith and York are the 2 women that Oda drew.
Expendable, bro. The wash you know me. Okay, that was a joke. I'm so sorry. I saw my chance. I had to take it. My wife is asleep. I had to go for it.
That's not even a your brain made the craziest, like, the craziest Andrew connection, bro.
Okay. I'm not even an Andrew Tate fan.
I didn't say the last name. You said the last name. We were trying to get banned.
All right. You know what, Par? I'm gonna leak it right here. So earlier in this day, during Par's live stream, he actually asked me, you know, Par, family man, he has a kid on the way. You know, congratulations, Par. He has a wife, pretty close to being due. Par asked me. He said, "Hey, Sai, can you DM me the Robin, Nami, and Boa Hancock Dojinshi?" Let me tell you.
I did not say that. You said that.
Go to the live. Yeah, parvisionvods at youtube.com. Let me tell you right now. Par said, "Hey, yo, let me get that Robin, Nami, and Boa Hancock Dojinshi." And guess what? Special guest Perona.
I did not say that.
And I said, all right, dude, like, I got you.
And then my wholesome ass community.
Par said, Par was like, "Hey, Sai, like, you better not tell anybody. Remember where you came from. Remember," like, he pulled a Vegapunk. This dude said, "I was your first collab. You know me. Like, nobody wanted to collab with you, Sai, but I did it. But, you know, do whatever you want." And then I was, "Okay, Par, like, I got you, buddy. Like, no worries, pal. Like, you know what? I'll hit you up. I have the link ready. I'm ready to send it." And he said, "Wait till 3 a.m. That's in 30 minutes from now. And 30 minutes after I know what this call, guess where Par is going to be?" All I got to say.
Yeah, Sai, you better make these collabs and post them on your channel. Oh my goodness! You had me for a second, and then you said what you said, and then you added Perona, and I was like, why did you insert yourself?
We always have. Hey, we always gotta add Perona in here. Let me tell you right now, ego power is too strong.
Yeah, apparently so.
God, this is a great chapter. You know what? Going back to the chapter, guys, this is awesome. Egghead Island definitely has a zoo problem. I mean, we got S bear, S shark, S snake, S hawk. We have Lucci and Kaku here. You know what? Do you think Stussy has a Zoan Devil Fruit?
That would be wild. I would like that. Yeah. Wait,
what if she had Okay, so you know how Jabra isn't here, right?
Yeah.
What if Stussy had the wolf fruit?
Oh, I would love that.
And then like she pairs up against Sanji, and Sanji's like, "Yo, I'm not hitting that."
Yo, I mean, he would be hitting that, but a different kind
of
hit.
No, that'd be kind of crazy.
Wait, I like that. I like how it's like 3 times now where we got off topic, and then we just jump right back into it.
What do you mean off topic?
Yeah, no off topic. But
Nothing off topic here. Yeah.
Stussy having that, I would like that. And you know what I was thinking about when you said that? I was like, dang, what if we get a world where, you know, all like fairy tales and happiness, like, you know, because everything's gonna end with a happily ever after. How many arcs have ended like horribly, right? And so I was kind of thinking horribly. Okay, this could end horribly, but honestly, at this point, it could end very horribly considering the Seraphims. But what I was thinking, I was like, wait, afterwards, what if we get like an S leopard, S cat, S giraffe?
That would be kind of cool.
Yo,
Vegapunk
Lucci.
is like, man, I've been copying the wrong people. Like, let me tell you, like, yo, like who's S Shark, bro? Like get him out of here. like the end of Egghead, you see Jinbei in the trash, and then you see like a Rob Lucci Seraphim popping up.
Yo, Seraphim Lucci Leopard goes hard. Like that looks dope in my brain.
And then he has like a awakening too. Like, that'd be too OP.
Like that's a fan fiction we need to write.
Yeah, and that's actually just fan fiction at that point, right?
Yeah. And but the thing is, like right now, I feel like Oda could just give us more fan fiction because that's what some of the chapter has been feeling like. Like if you asked a chapter ago, awaken Lucci, that's fan fiction, right? Like, oh, Lucci's gonna show up with a black flame coat scarf thing. If you said that last chapter, you would get ragged on and said
roasted,
that's fan fiction.
If you said that Lucci wasn't getting one shot, you'd get roasted. like actually, like you'd be on the stake, like you'd be dead by now.
Yeah, and that's why, like, even considering this idea, right, is fan, like it would be fan fiction, and you know, I want to clarify, I was on the side of saying like, bro, Lucci should not be able to box Luffy. I think a lot of us were, which is why this is so interesting that we went this route. And
it's
it does,
crazy
you know,
chapter.
After we digest it, it's not that like crazy, but in that same light, like, you know, the S leopard idea, I feel like that's fan fiction enough where it's like maybe we do get that. Like it's kind of feels like maybe Oda could go, if he likes Lucci that much, why not make a second one, right? Like that's kind of what we're saying with Miyagi, Jinbei, the Warlords, and even more than that, it's like I just realized something really interesting was maybe the chapter started out with Feld being on Mads and, like, you know, funding Mads, you know, because he's
the main villain of this arc. I see where you're going.
Yes, exactly there. But, you know, not that he wouldn't, because I was questioning what would his relevance be, but his, like, Vegapunk needs more funds, right? So then, is that how Feld comes back in the story? Maybe he has a grudge against Stussy? I don't know, like, because he got shaganed in the back by Stussy.
Like, hey, you don't like CP0, I don't like him either. You know what? I got money, you need money, we'll work out a deal.
Because other than that, it's like, I think that's one thing that Oda hasn't done, and this is like no fault, I guess, but like, if Vegapunk were gonna live, then you'd kind of make sense of like who's gonna fund him, right? Like, who's he actually gonna go to, or is his job done? He's
super old, man. Like, send him to a retirement home.
Yeah,
and like that would work with Feld.
Guild Tesoro, right? I mean, Guild Tesoro might be in a movie, but technically that might exist somewhere in the world, right?
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, no, Guild Tesoro would be too OP though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would. I feel like if Guild Tesoro was canon, he would cause too much of an uproar.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the minute Luffy goes to Marie Joie, Guild Tesoro would be like on like his side, like hard.
That movie told us something, because Oda executive produced that. That movie contained a detail that allows you to extrapolate the global GDP of the One Piece world.
It really does, huh?
Yeah, it tells you exactly how much money is on the ship, and then the girl says that that's 25% of the world
like the
treasure,
world
or whatever.
Treasure, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just like, damn. So Oda gave us the amount, and it's not that much. Like, I mean, it is a lot, but like, it's not like an absurd amount. But I mean,
Guild Tesoro could constantly make gold though. Like, that wasn't even his cap, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but
he
that's
could
like
just do like he could be like, boop, here we go, like here's more.
yeah, but that's when we
later.
get into like economics, where it's like if you flood like so this is an actual thing to I don't know if you ever heard of asteroid mining. Have you
No,
heard
what's
of that?
that? No.
So like one of there's a few startup companies that are coming out with tech that allows us to mine on asteroids. And like even NASA just had like the recent DART thing where the whole point is like we send like missiles up and we redirect asteroids, but like the next step of that is being able to land on the asteroids. And the reason why is because each asteroid contains enough minerals of whichever one, like we can see through like the photo spectrometry or whatever it's called. You can see like the wavelengths and tell what mineral, what substance, what element is there. And so like platinum, for example, you can go there and it would have enough platinum to like have like 43 billion Earths over worth of platinum. And so if you introduced gold or platinum or anything like that to our markets here, it would completely destroy like the whole economic system around that.
Economy would hate you.
You would flood it. Yeah. Like there would be a purpose of having it, but then you made all of it not valuable because there's so much of it. Right. So Giltasaur technically, you know, he could, but
He
I
knows
don't
what
think
he's doing though.
It would work like that.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. This is
So,
true.
you know, we already shout ourselves out, so we don't really have to like say anything else to end the video, do we?
Yeah, we just kind of.
Yeah. Any like any final words before we like cut the call?
Peace.
All right. Well,
can't wait to see the comment section on this
one.
one.
You guys heard it here from your rabid Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton.
Oh my god, you remembered it.
You guys know how it is. Catch you guys later. That was a meme from the Game Awards. Some guy invaded the stage and said that, and then he later got arrested. So yeah, a good little meme for you guys. And with that being said, catch you guys later. Peace out.